Welcome everyone. Happy Wednesday. The days are just flying now. It's the part where we're going to start seeing times just made up, and everything changes as soon as you take time away. We become immortal. That's one thing for sure. Welcome everyone. And we're going to have the choice of how we live this life in this human experience, and also know that we can spend as much time as we want here and go back through the ages, the aging process. The understanding of our body is so advanced now. So we're going to have, lots of things going to be shown to us. It's just this part now is the test for our soul. It's the soul journey in this human experience. And this is where we go through many emotions that we've yet to experience before. Hey, everyone. Hey, Anita. Hey, Carla. I'm just sending a link to my social media to see if I can get a few more people on. Two now. All right. Now you got me back. Hi, Claire. Live now. Right, there we go. So yesterday it was really strange because I didn't realize how quickly the time went. It was 3 hours by the time I finished sharing my story. Didn't even get close to completing it. And I remember just thinking, well, that time flew by, completely just vanished, disappeared. And then what was quite interesting was around that same time yesterday on the John McAfee Telegram group, it said a glitch in the Matrix. And it said time is an illusion and stuff. It felt like that so much yesterday. It was really, really odd the way it flew by. But I watched a lot of this today. It says 3 hours. All of it just felt very strange yesterday. So I hope you enjoyed yesterday's one. Hi, Susan. Hi, Amanda. Welcome, people. As we did yesterday, get involved in the chat today. Hi, Deborah. Welcome back. Anything's come up for you since just watching yesterday's ones? For those that did, had some really nice comments left on the videos, and what I've loved about it for me, it's my story, it's my truth. Like if I'm searching for truth, that's it. I just tell my story, and as soon as I get that out there, I get to process it. I'm looking forward to this. Hi, Cherry. Hi, Lorena. Hi, Carol. I've got all the regulars on. Welcome, ladies. And I feel like that's my it is. It's ladies above category 45 plus, 80% of my audience on YouTube. And there's another, the spiritual aspect. It's almost like a lot of the women have been selected, held captive, doing what women do, like the stereotypes and stuff as well. So there's a lot more criminal acts that takes place on the side. And in terms of like the major roles and stuff, especially if you just look at the corporations in the city of London alone, it is like a 70-30% ratio. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Carol. It went so quick. I know it flew by yesterday. I'm gonna go into it as well. But if you're just starting this one and you're watching today or watching a replay of this, I encourage you to go back and watch the first one. Again, you could watch it either order. The way I stopped yesterday because I said this is kind of like the next chapter part where I've gone through my work, my company. There's a few more things to show today, but just to show you that I went from a kid. Now I'm starting to search for myself. I've just thought I'm going a bit more on a spiritual path at the time, and I was doing a bit of plant medicine, and I'm now meditating, but didn't really. Again, that word, go and find yourself. Traveling, you find yourself. We always hear about like awakening, a spiritual journey. Still doesn't make any sense if you just say it in words. You have to have an experience of it, and then things start making sense when you look back. And that's the key thing. We're waiting to go into the future to find out and explore. It's only, and I'm realizing this more and more, Steve Jobs quote, it's only when you look back can you connect your dots. So if you keep going forward and you keep searching, you're going to continue searching. You get experience, a lot of it, but it's almost like you're trying everything, because everything in part, there's still something empty inside you. It's missing. Turn around, go backwards now. That's what I mean. If there's no time, I'm still here now having my human experience going back the other way. If I look at the triangle, like I said, the top of the pyramid and the mountain, I've gone down as far as I need to. And now I'm going back up again because I don't want to keep going. It's like, imagine going into a well and that was the mountain. It just keeps getting down further and further down, and things are further and further away. And now I've never seen any of this stuff. It doesn't even make any sense anymore. And it's just like there's a need to keep going to the very depths. I've just walked past all of this amazing land and all these amazing features in this earth, which I've never seen before. So I'm going to go up. I'm going to go back up again. So if we take time away and know this is the rest of our life at the moment, take time away. Like, you don't die at 80 and you don't die at 60. That's something we've told ourselves. That's something that's socially accepted. And that's all we've experienced. That's not a truth. It's only since we put time in, you get older, aging. You're aging based on a number going 1, 2, 3. Before numbers existed, what would be 1, 2, 3? You'd literally go on your pulse, and everyone's pulse would be different. Going, whoa, you're only 24 beats per minute. You're 24 years old. Again, how do you know how they measured it? So your body, people, don't matter what you've done before, don't matter how good you was or how unfit you are now, start now. Just start now. And what does that mean, start now? Just intentions. Just taking some time out for yourself. Meditation. I'm going to continue now. I'm going to do a series of videos on that too. That's God. It's like quick time straight into God. It's almost, we ignore it because no, it can't be. No, it can be. Look how long it's taken us to get to this point in our life, and we're still confused. Just close your eyes. Make that a normality. Where are we? Felt weird today. A deep low sadness. Stayed in all day. Didn't do much. So, love to share on that as well. A deep low sadness. Stayed in all day. There could be something to that as well. There's something that I keep, and again, I always question, should I be doing something? So sometimes I don't feel the need to at all. And it's almost these days where we find it all. Sadness, by the way, people, is a soulful emotion. So if you do feel sad, something I encourage is the piano. Type in piano meditation and watch your weep. Leave it on, just lay there and just notice. It'll come out of you. Self-searching for the self, it's reflection. Love that. For me, that's where we're going to get a lot more of, and we're going to realize why we haven't been able to do it is because we've been hustled around. We've been pushed into situations. We've been distracted. We've been held back in terms of the education of it. Imagine if you didn't need to go and do things. There was no need, and that not doing anything is actually the best thing for you to be doing. Just being. It's flowing, and flying days are increasing in speed. It's a wonderful feeling. Love that, John. Thanks for sharing. And the days are flying. The time seems like it's flying. Guys, if we can get used to just anytime that thought comes up, or what time is it, as well, oh, I haven't done a lot today, or anything like that, take it away. Oh, it's been an unproductive week, or God, it's Christmas around the corner and it's only a few weeks. Like, strip it away. Just completely strip it completely away. Keep working on that as awareness, because you'll see sometimes you just naturally just go into that state. It's not real. None of it's real at all. And I feel we're going to start seeing the clocks are going to have to change soon as well, because the sun's path, if it does go down, which I know it does, it means it's going to be a bigger circle. So I wonder what comes next and how we look at it. My fave age was 26. I'm still there. Love it. Your story feels so similar to my son. He's 31. Unfortunately, he refuses to accept his spiritual aspect, says he uses logic. Yeah, and thanks for sharing, Lorena. It's tough. Logic for me is spiritual. It's just that word spiritual. It's the same with that word meditation. It's not. There's got to be something in these things. We just watch that bit. Look at his story on that bit, and there's always just one thing that gets people paying attention because it resonates. And and then when they start asking questions, or when the best thing to catch someone when it's spiritual is when you're having conversation with them, just notice at any point when there's a bit of passion, or at any point they giggle. It's like a proper giggle laugh, because a lot of people don't do that enough. It's that giggle which is the truth. You can't fake a giggle. You can fake a laugh. It's the giggle that comes out. And it's the inner child. Catch them at that moment. Go, look at your energy now. They can't see it, but they can feel it. Look at your energy now. Look how you've just lit up then. You say, that's spiritual. That's your spirit. It's in spirit. Now you're feeling inspirational. It's just trying to simplify it for people and just leave them with it then. Doesn't need to be any proof. As soon as you catch someone in their energy, especially when you say, look how you lit up when you talked about your son. Look how you lit up when you was talking about dancing, cooking. Catch it and make them aware of it, because you notice their soul. That's what the soul is. It's that part there. You notice their soul. And again, going back to the word sadness, when anyone says the word sadness, that's your soul. Your soul saying, stay in today, lay it out. When have you had any time for yourself to let out sadness? When have you experienced sadness without the other things? Anger, guilt, worry, just sadness. That's your soul. That's soul healing. That's spiritual. It's the same thing. We can get clever the way that we break down the explanations. So I'm going to go back into the photos from yesterday. I only got through halfway. I think there's about 400 and something. So let's share this here. So where I got to was I've now stopped drinking, and where are we? 2018. I stopped drinking. I went to the wedding, which was the wedding from the bachelor party stag do that I was arrested, and that was kind of like my final straw. Stopped drinking then, went to the wedding sober, got to witness all sorts of things for the first time. Actually reflected, whoa, I must have been a lot worse and more stupid and more cheeky, and again, instant soul slap. And then I didn't go on to it, but the drinking part, in terms of that on its own, giving up drinking. And I realized it's not giving up, it's saying no now. It's standing on my truth. It's sticking to something that I've set out. Drinking's a great one, because you do go through all the different things. And I realize it's your energy. At first, you're embarrassed to say that you're not drinking. At the wedding, I was drinking elderflower, which someone told me, and had it in a wine glass just so I didn't have people come to me. And if someone said, "Oh, why? Why are you not having one? Why?" "Oh, I got arrested. I got arrested." That was the way that I approached it all the time. And then I started going to a few nights where they were like, my mates drink loads, and they're up all night, and half of them were like with kids and married and stuff, so they'd only come out twice or three times a year. Plus I was living in London now, so for them it was just a real big night anyway. Then we went to Coachella, and I said yesterday that was my first festival that I've been to sober, completely sober. I had some mushrooms while I was out there. I had a really good conversation with the rose bush. And I remember feeling free. It was like when I was dancing, which isn't maybe the prettiest of sights. I felt like a plant. Like I was just all wavy and stuff as well. It was a good time. I remembered the artists. And also then from that, I reflected back and think, all these festivals I've been to, I didn't pay attention once to the DJ. I didn't even appreciate that DJs make a set and it flows into it, because we'd go in one tent and you go another. And my thing is, how do they know? They all sounds the same. No interest. And I must have been off in my own little world, wandering off and all sorts of things. Didn't remember any. So when I start remembering like the artists, especially my childhood favorites, Eminem, 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, all on stage together, Jamiroquai and Snoop Dogg together. It was amazing. I got to remember it though. And it sounds simple, but I didn't remember my nights. It was just a blur. You remember certain things, and you say to people, "Oh, it was such a good night." Don't remember. This is the beauty of this technology. This is called a cell phone. We can go back through I don't reckon many of us, this is the first time I've done it properly. Just go back through your photos. So it's a cell phone. It was created based on your cells inside your body. So this is new age. This is God's creation. It's showing you what God can see. But now you've got a snapshot of your life. So look, treat your iPhone as your past subconscious behaviors. So watch this. As the observer now, I get my phone out. Instead of my thoughts, I'm thinking about my past. And then I think about that moment, and then I got really treated bad, and I got really upset, and then I'm feeling it again. Get caught up in my mind. I'm doing exactly the same thing, the same thought, but I'm going back there and going, whoa, I was low at that point there. Wow. It helps us to break away from, it's not me. My thoughts aren't me. So I'm observing. It's just showing you how to do it. And as soon as you start doing that, you can start, because we don't want to go back to those thoughts. But if you go through your phone, something pops up and you go, I forgot about that. I forgot about that. I'll tell you what I can say now. I remember everything. So I'm going back, especially what I'm going to show today on certain things. There's bits that like you miss it and it connects. But I remember where I was. I remember certain times I was on the phone or when I was driving, what music was playing, because I was present. And when people say it feels like you've done a lot and you've done low, I just realized I've just been present a lot more. Why? When you travel, it's a new experience. So all there is experience. Why do you remember your holidays? Because you've never been there before. Why do you always have that spark when you first meet someone? Because you meet their soul. It was such a connection because it was a love, it was excitement, it was curious. As energy, it was still love. But then over time, the mind gets in. I'm now making sense of this person. I'm now seeing things that I don't actually like, I don't agree with. I have a different opinion. Oh, they're quite rude, and it starts building in. If you just paid attention to energy each time you meet someone, you'll see an instant change with people. If people are like really upset and anxious, if people when you've got a busy mind, you can see they're not present with you, but you can look at their body too. It's all automated. Right, I'm going to see if I can keep the chat going as well. My last few days, I felt so full of life. They have been so joyful. Love that, Cherry, and also from your shares on the meditation as well. It's like there's a knowing that's coming in. Let me see if I can, for you, each time you're coming in with a new understanding. I can do it like this. View full screen. So we'll flick through some of them. So as I said yesterday, I was at Tower Bridge 2009, October 2009, when we signed the first contract. So 2018, our landlord says, right, we're going to put your rent up even more. And we'd already had 2 renewals, 5 years and 3 years. And we couldn't afford what she was saying. It was ridiculous. So she said, right, here's an option. And there was this car park underneath. It was never used. It was just dusty. And we'll kit this out for you. You can go underneath. And it was bigger. And I feel like this was all part of it because these people knew what was coming. A lot of people, the guy that owned all of this, he was one of the Bermondsey robbers, the bank robbers. That was one of the rumors that I heard when I first got there. And again, very geezer, owned a lot of things, but they're still dodgy people. So we got asked to move down. This was the wedding, like I said, that I went to sober. And my life started changing completely. So I'm going to hope, well, you'll see. And I really want people to just notice the time frame within this. So really is around 2017. I started then searching for myself a bit more. 2018 now. The event in Cyprus, the breakdown. I then had the Tenerife episode where I was arrested for 40 hours in March of 2018. So it's from this moment I can say my self-development journey really started. But as you saw, I had all my gym years experience and business experience. And again, all this stuff was compiling without me realizing. So time was always interesting because, so this is where my studio was. So I got to see that every day, the Shard. And now that was at ground zero when we signed the contract in 2009. So I saw it go up every day in layers and stuff as well. But the Shard, it's the tallest building in Europe. It now starts making sense. So my ex-college tutor and then one of the ex-students and all these people started coming back. One of my ex-tutors like to come and see how I'm doing. Didn't have that before. So then I start doing all sorts of things. So as you see the way that I do my research and also stand on my truth, I'm quite like, if I say something now, I stand on it. It's the same when I say I'm going to do something. So I've tried when I was doing what was this one? So this was in 2018. I've done all sorts of things. So this was a 3-day water diet, just water. And you realize where all these fads that sell you all these diets and the juice diet and stuff, and they sell it to you like it's very tough and it's very hard, and you got a bit of superpowers if you're doing it. And it's actually easy. That's how our body's designed. If you tell yourself, again, if you took time out and you told yourself, and the reason why people fail on fasts is because they'll say something like, oh, I don't think I'll be able to do all 3 days. Well, I'm going to find this really tough. Of course, you're going to find it tough if you tell yourself. Another good way to do it now is document your journey for you. Like, what did you learn? Why are you doing this? How did you feel? Like, what did you have to fight through? So I've put this on there because that was in the space of 3 days. Again, it doesn't really matter in terms of body shape, etc. But I did all my stats. Look at the drop. It literally flew off me. There's all my stats. 5% body fat, lost 3 kilos. Granted, a lot of it would have been water. But it was just interesting for me because that's the first time I've really started paying attention to me. And it was like the different signs that you get from being hunger, like natural reactions. One, you just get that, I'm hungry now. You say, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Then you start like wanting food. So you fight through that one. Then your stomach starts actually grumbling. It's like, no, I'm really hungry. And you fight through that one. And you realize they're just automated responses in your body. I could then start feeling like my body was flushing. In the morning, it was like a flush that went round, and I was noticing it. And the one big one, I think I'll do it. There's a lot of topless ones of me, but just to show you how that continues to change as you work and consistent at it. And there was just trying to think what I was going to say on the diet. Oh yeah, the one thing that I really noticed was habits. Like automatic, after my first 2 sessions in the morning, automatic, go to the coffee shop. London coffee shops, you're spending about £5 on a coffee anyway. And it was just every day coffee shop. And I had to physically stop myself or even turn around to the point on one of the days, it was the last day, I actually walked in the coffee shop and I walked straight back out again. And I had to do a video to replay. Just natural, didn't realize it. So just opened a new studio so to try get some advertising going. A lot of my trainers, when they come and work for me, I said one of the things to be a trainer for us, you've got to do your own, we call it a photo shoot. You've got to do your own little transformation because you can't train my clients if you can't put yourself through 12 weeks or 8 weeks or anything consistency. And yeah, it was quite good. So this period, I was in good shape. I was healthy, just opened a second studio. I wasn't happy though. Wasn't happy. Now searching all the stuff because I'm not drinking. So I went to, and this is where I say different sorts of people come into your life. I had different groups of friends, and this was like a couple. I mentioned I went to the wedding in Colombia. This was like a couple from the ladies from Colombia. But when I stopped drinking, these people come into my life. When I was drinking, it was other people that come into my life. And I'm thinking, so when I'm connecting it all back, now I can start seeing there's certain people within the different groups that are linked with the other people. And I do know some people, you just know they're dodgy. You don't ask what they do, but you can overhear their conversations. You can see some of the people they hang around with. They name drop everyone. They got a different deal going on all the time. You hear and talk, so you know some people are dodgy. But when you go back and look at it, you're going to go, oh, what I was still doing was cocaine when I went out with people. So we got taken to, this is in Belgium. It was a 7-day festival. And we only went for 3 days in Genk, but it was 7 days. And after the festival finishes, the fire people come out and spray the last remaining survivors and standers and stuff. And there was a Dutch guy from the fitness industry, crazy, like just wild. It was like when I stopped drinking, he come to England. I remember he asked me 12 times, 12 rounds, go and have a drink, go and have a drink, go and have a drink. And I was no. And in the end, I didn't even get that question. So my energy. But we met him here and we went back to his house again more. And it was almost like they were sending different people. Can someone else corrupt him? So Genk was really good. This is also the time of the Euros. So we then went over to, I don't even know where I was here. I can't remember where that was. It was in the square or somewhere. And we watched I think England lost to Belgium in the semis. And it was Croatia and France, I think, in the finals, and France won. Really hot day. I remember it was super hot. You see all these buildings here. This is what's created by God's children when they first come here initially. They make all these. It's almost to rub it in the darkness face. Look what we can do. And they would have knocked these up quickly. Not like the timelines we said, oh, this would have taken 10. They would have knocked all these things up quickly because we know how to make the buildings. And I say we are God's children. As soon as you find out how to do this, you'll be able to do it with a lot of people. So again, it was good for me going out. You see, I've got a Red Bull in my hand, that one. I wouldn't drink them even now. And then back to the gym. Just to show you, did it with clients and consistency. I trained the actual editor for the City magazine newspaper, and that was April 2014. He continued, and again, he was a city guy, drunk, drugs, food was terrible. But 4 years later, and he said, right, I'm going to do another one, and he documented it all as well. So just shows you that once you get the belief, and he was the same. He said his body was crazy the way it started changing. But he said, I can get myself in shape now in 3 weeks if I need to. He's done it. He's got the experience, and now he knows. That's the thing, people. And I've looked at a lot of people when I go to the gym now, and you can see there's all sorts of characters. It's the best ego watching ever. Because if you don't judge, everything comes back to you. And you start seeing where the insecurities lie in different people and how people walk and stuff. And the one thing that's telling every single time, the ones are in good shape, and there are people in good shape, but the ones in good shape, and you pay attention, it's their passion for what they're doing. There's an enjoyment still where you see others are in good, they look miserable. It's like a chore. It feels like it's hard work. I can imagine they're super strict, super disciplined all the time. So that was his photo. So I show, this is my birthday as well, August the 9th. I show all these because it's not just me. It's showing that everyone else can do all this stuff. And these are people in the corporate world, which was a crazy world. Like, we've got more time. We've definitely got more knowledge. And people, we can do this in meditation. We can do it in meditation. It's energy. Think about it, strip it right back. If I just squeeze my muscles and then I just sit there, what do I feel going on? There's energy. Energy is empty. So what am I doing now? I'm talking to the muscles because I feel the energy there. I'm setting intention. Build. But build as a word doesn't mean anything. If I now have something to go on, my memories, images, build. So I got a few things. When I'm out in the sun, and I don't wear sun cream at all anymore, and I'm a lobster guy, like I burn, I will go out and I will say, as soon as I lay in the sun, I feel it on me. I am resilient. I am moisturized. I am protected. I am golden brown. I am smooth. I am hydrated. I talk to my body and I feel the sun on it. And I also got a negotiation with my body. I say, once it's enough, you'll let me know. I'll feel it and I'll respect that and I'll get out the sun. It's almost like I got a little negotiation with myself then, so I don't burn. I get a lot more color now. Whereas before, I'm always pasty. I'm always pasty. Again, I'm telling myself that. So just little things that I noticed, and this is what I really noticed on clients when they started changing. When I look back now, I was in good shape. I did stand like confident. I don't think I felt it when I look back at this period, but I still looked it. So this is why health's so important. Your body's a separate thing. It's a vessel. Just by working on your body, your mind will be healthier. There's a commitment there. Commit mind. There's a partnership there. Mind, body. There's the soul comes in every single time when you're in flow, when you're enjoying it. It's consistency, people. And this is the thing. You don't have to go all out. There's no rush. We don't have a rush now. We're living each month. So just each day. And if you can work on meditations and send the energy around your body and then talk to the energy. I was competing even now at this point. So again, just my body shape's changing. I'm training hard. Like this was an event. And now I'm competing with some of the fittest personal trainers in London. Like these guys are a machine. So there was 12 and I was invited to this one. These guys were all so much fitter than me, but this was just a new experience. I did enjoy that training. I remember that day I was listening to this book. This is a great book. Great to listen to as well. It'll make you laugh. This is actually based on David Goggins' After Living with a Seal. I really encourage it, especially for motivation and stuff as well. Notice how there's 33 chapters in there, just popped up. So just things like this. I remember exactly where I was leading up to that competition, listening to the book. And I remember what he actually said in there about going out in the cold and him yelling at his nuts, screw your nuts. Like just things like that. There's no way I'd have remembered that. I always used to get jealous of my mates singing away on the lyrics and songs. And like, how do you remember the songs? Or they all had their little laugh with the movies and they got their own little bits there. I'm like, I don't remember movie because I told myself. So this is where things start changing even more now. So let me come back to the chat. Right, here we go. So thank you for your patience. Jamiroquai's song "Blow Your Mind" about taking drugs is one of my favorite songs. Even though I've never taken drugs, JK went through a period of taking coke and wrote this about his experience. Thank you for sharing, Michael. And that's the thing, it's sharing experiences. Someone else's story makes you now a bit more aware of certain things. And then feelings that people get on a low, you can now compare it to what you would call low. Brussels. It was Genk that we went to. Yeah, it was Brussels. That of course it was. We went Brussels after because I remember standing over a building. It felt like I was melting. Oh my god, muscles while meditating. That's how you do it. That's literally if you one of the books was called Becoming Supernatural with Joe Dispenza. He shows you how you can learn to play the piano without actually touching the piano. You would have a piece of paper and they'd do it to someone else and they'd do the same notes. They had to practice and they had to do it all as a sequence. And the one thing that was missing was the experience of the actual key feel and the noise. But they did it all. They did it on bicep. They've done it on everything. We got to first of all believe it's possible. Then you got to imagine yourself do it, and then you got to know it. You keep reinforcing it. So I play around with all this sort of stuff now. I've got my favorite on the Stairmaster. Love the stairs now. First thing I do, I go on the stairs. I can zone out my breath now. I can get to a point where my mouth's not open at all. But it feels like my breath is actually inside my body going up and down. So it's almost, I call it my own rave inside, and I don't want anyone else on the outside to get any of it. It's my secret. And I feel all of it. And I realize when you say you get breathless when you're training, that's BS. You don't get breathless. You get breath full. And there's so much energy going off in your body, you can't contain it. So you have to let it out. So it's breath full. Don't tell yourself ever that you're getting breathless. Breath is life. So you're getting breath full. And what happens is when you get more conditioned, your muscles take on more breath. We'll use that. We'll take that. We'll use that bit. We'll save that bit. I can now draw. This is how my mind works. I imagine my lungs and then I add a bit on and I put a new pocket. It's like a secret compartment. And it's almost like I can hold my breath for longer. Things like that. Mind goes off. I lock myself in a position and I put a song on for 6 or 7 minutes and I've gone. So now I wouldn't train like that before. I wouldn't really do that much cardio in the gym. I'd prefer to do hikes and stuff. But every time I go to the gym, I'm with God, because I always go at the start on that and I'm off. I go off. I imagine that I walk above everyone in the world on the stairs. And I'm going to get to my position at the top and I'm looking down at my kingdom. And it's like I'm adding to it as I go down. So from my soul, I'm up there. So I encourage people every day, set yourself the height first. Say hi to your soul at your highest point. Your awareness, imagination can take you. And then at least you set the soul for the day where you are king or queen, royalty, looking down your kingdom, you get the choice. That would be my number one advice. Any intention for the day, that would be the one now. Start the day like that. And turn it into a little routine. Turn it into, right, let me add a tiny bit more to my kingdom. What else am I looking down at? You start it down the high. I've done 23 years of yoga and 12 years of Pilates. I feel the fittest and healthiest ever. Almost just mostly fruit. Love that. Yoga for me, yoga is, I call it yoga is the Bible for the body. Because your body doesn't just do this. Your body, it rotates. Your body's not just one, it's one whole connection. So again, in yoga, instead of looking at the mirror and stuff, you can't look at other people because you lose it. So you're now really focusing on your feelings, your mind, because you have to keep talking to yourself. And the body just then goes into flow. It's union, body, mind, soul. So I love that. I'm more of a fan of yoga than I am of Pilates, especially my new awareness for my body. And I look at the body as the muscles are just the slabs, but the yoga helps create the web. You know, when you've got a tube of toothpaste and you've got to squeeze it up, that's your muscles. So one thing that's missing in yoga, by the way, is grip. Every day we should be doing just different things with just grip. You turn, grip's the one thing missing. Get a grip. And it changes everything. So again, play around with your body. This is the way that I explain it to myself now, and I understand my body more. Does it make sense to others? No, maybe not. Does it need to? Not yet. Best thing to not sunburn is not wearing glasses. Oh, thanks for sharing that. Never been one for glasses. I realized though, I go like this in the, I only wink with one eye. So I try my other one, my face changes. Again, just natural. But I feel like my eye's a bit wonky on certain times when I watch back. But I ask people, when you close and look through one eye, what one do you do? You'll naturally do one. Start working on another one. Watch how different your face feels compared to the natural one. That's automated. There's an imbalance there somewhere on a meniscal level. It's playing around with things like that. Happy to wait the end as you might answer it. I've also made so much sense of life. However, I felt many were acting from their own conditioning. So I wonder, could that be unconscious or indeed specifically targeted? Happy to wait to the end, you might answer it. I've also made some of my life. However, I feel many were acting from their own conditioning. In terms of the people that you connected with, the thing is as well, when we're looking back at ourselves and you notice other people from their conditioning too, these things wouldn't happen when you're more aware, because you'd be able to lead a conversation, or you wouldn't be entering certain conversation because you realize that they're still unconscious and they don't want to change. It's awareness which is the key. So then you start working on, okay, how would I approach it next time? That's why I love words. You correct someone on their words, just one, especially when someone says, what the hell, I change it. What the heaven? Instantly, like, oh, I like that. It stays with them. They'll remember you for the rest of their life. Every time they think of heaven. Right, let's get back, because I realize why this is longer, because this was meant to be a skip through. I'm going through like each slide. Okay, so life starts changing a bit now. I'm now Mr. Fit. I'd never looked back at myself at this point at HIT, but again, I'm not drinking, so you're replacing it. But I got asked to go on the BBC. This guy was an absolute dick, and I wish he didn't listen to me. at the start, he come in and goes, I'm going to ask you these things. And he completely changed it straight away. Wasn't listening. I now know if I went back onto any of these things, I was a bit nervous on this one. I know that I would have corrected him on his words instantly when he says something at the end. I'll play it all for this one. But this was, I feel like I got set up to go on this as well, because this guy out of nowhere got me on the show. Didn't get back after.
You know, I was ready to break into a samba or salsa or something, which might help with the next story, because the fitness industry is in pretty good shape, thanks partly to social media pressures for us all to live the picture-perfect life. You know what I mean. #FitFam, #fitness and the rest. At the same time, though, a body-positive movement is encouraging people who are plus size to embrace their curves and ignore the scales. Where does it all leave us then? Well, with me is Harry Thomas, founder of Number One Fitness. Welcome to the programme, Harry. So, these pressures, are they a good thing? Do they motivate us, or do they just set unattainable, unrealistic goals?
I think we have to pay attention to the individual and actually really understand what their goals are. We have people that say weight loss, but what does weight loss actually mean for that person? So we at Number One Fitness, we do a consultation, we find out and dig deep and actually understand what weight loss actually means. So that could mean, how would you measure progress? We'd look at clothes size, we'd look at the way they are in a bikini, but not just pay attention to the scales. I think what we're finding with the industry at the moment, especially on social media, they're encouraging people not to weigh themselves at all. However, people their whole lives have paid attention to the scales, so for that individual, it is super important for them. But we just need to make them highlight what else does weight loss mean.
I'm cringing watching this as well. I thought I'd come out, I was like, I did all right. I was a bit annoyed the way you'll see now. Cringy, and the beard.
When it comes to those pressures, is there a danger that it goes so extreme and people become addicted to exercise and they keep pushing themselves even when actually they're injured and they should be taking a break? Do you find that? Do you see that in anyone at all?
I think people can go to extremes, but I guess what comes with the rewards with exercise as well. So if we look at this, the one common factor is exercise improves health, happiness, and a lot of people, it's just actually understanding, again, what their goals are.
The thing is, for a lot of people watching, they've got busy lives, you know, they work, they've got families, and actually fitting the exercise in can be a real struggle. I mean, especially if someone perhaps runs their own business. How on earth do you find the time to fit it in around the rest of the stuff that's demanding time in your life?
I guess looking at the goal and their priorities of it, but fitness and exercise doesn't mean you just have to go to the gym. It just increasing activity, looking at steps throughout the day. It could be a small home workout, and on social media now there's loads of workouts and stuff that you can follow there, but it's being more active. But once you start measuring progress and seeing the results, then people make that then their priority, and yeah, they add exercise into their routine.
I mean, I'm just hearing from some colleagues who are working on the programme with me. Motivation is what they struggle with. How do you get motivated? If you've got a holiday coming up, that's fine, you want to look good on the beach. But if you're in the middle of winter, for example, which is, you know, autumn, winter coming up in some parts of the world, how do you get motivated?
I'd say successes. So the first thing would be, if you see progress, you get results. Again, how would you measure the progress there? If I'm seeing that I'm losing weight on the scales, I'm looking better in my clothes, I'm getting compliments from other people, that then increases motivation. I think people lose motivation when they feel like it's not working at all. And most of the time, we find that people see that it's not working is because they're just paying attention to, say, the scales, and then they say that they don't feel like they're making progress. But they keep forgetting about that they're now training 3 to 4 times a week, they're paying attention to their foods, they're sleeping better, they're more productive in the day, and again, that's the extra motivation there.
Okay, Harry, thank you very much indeed, and I bet you didn't think our fitness expert would say get rid of the scales, but there you have it.
I didn't say get rid of the scales, but yeah, there you have it. So the one thing that I was going to say to you, where's my smile when I'm talking through any of that? There's no passion. I was calm. There's no passion. There's no excitement. And I was just saying words. It was so back then I thought I looked presentable. I was good. The guy wasn't listening to me, but he wasn't listening because there was no energy coming out of me either. So he's already thinking, if anyone said, oh, do you worry that people would get addicted to exercise? I would have caught him I'd rather them addicted to exercise and addicted to drugs and alcohol, which is most of our clients, and just caught him off guard from that, and just been a bit more planned. You seem sad. I know. But you got to realize I wasn't happy. And it just shows you when you go back. I didn't. Well, that was the first time I've watched that for a while, like a little while now. But just things like that. That was a big thing for me. I was teaching a lot of influencers at that time as well. So coming back, say, oh, I'm on the BBC. Yeah, it was just interesting. Then I'm now doing with my staff now. I'm encouraging my staff to come and change with me. Your posture is not good either. Yeah, confidence now. And then I think that was tough. No, Spartan race. That was amazing. It was ultra obstacles, and it was fun. It was enjoyable. It was teamwork. It was a new experience. Did I enjoy getting muddy and stuff? Not so much. However, is it something else that I can say I've done now? Did I want to go and do a million more of them? No. Will I do one again? Maybe in a different location. But I've done it now. It was a good experience. This was where I got introduced to meditation initially, and I got some of his DVD. He's not a good person, and I'll stick by that. She is. He's not. This changed my life. I said he saved my life because I started meditating more and more. And he used to just say certain things that just stuck with me, is analogies for things, which I love using as analogies. And I listened to these. You'd say a few mantras, and then you'd go. I was always asleep by 20 minutes, always gone. So it was still my start, but it wasn't that feeling of meditation. Then I start going traveling a bit more of my own. And the thing with my business, I only had 2 weeks really where I could get off. And also just going away was stressful. But when I come to Philippines, it was a brilliant trip, actually. It was really good. It was unplanned. I didn't really plan, apart from this thing. It was a 3-day boat excursion in the middle of nowhere. We went island hopping and stuff. And you was just with random people for 3 days. Really cool. Beautiful. Like picturesque stuff. Again, you don't appreciate it until when you go back and go, whoa. Some of it was, yeah, it's really cool. So just complete randoms, all from around the world. I had a few influencers on this one, so they had some good photos. Went to the lagoon in Boracay, I think it was around there, or Palawan. Look at the watercolor. That's not even edited. That's real photo, and it was even more crystal clear when you were there. So starts now changing my message. So now I'm kind of like doing coaching. I think I was doing my coaching course at this time as well, and just being qualified as a coach. So now doing these videos.
This is another video on tips of how.
Just look at even things now that I notice in the background. It's just messy. And I remember our business coach once told us, like, if you're doing, he pointed at our reception. He said, does this look like the money that you're charging your clients? Does that represent it? And you want to go, and you feel yourself trying to argue it, but it's right. It didn't match. And that was, it was messy on those sort of things. 2 lads, until someone made you aware of it and changed it. But even then, when I'm doing videos, I wasn't doing them for that long at this point. It was that sort of thing where I didn't pay any attention to.
You can make progress, and
look at my lack of energy.
The key things for me is you don't have to not have a life. Like, you can do this by eating certain foods and not restricting everything, so it's not sustainable. So many people start the January with really good intentions, but they go all in and they do it for about 2 to 3 weeks. And it's such a shift from your life. Normally, like, you're now training 5 to 6 times a week. You're now not eating carbs, for example.
I used to think these videos were good. No wonder people don't engage with it. If you're not in the fitness, you're almost talking to fitness colleagues on these. If you're not, it just goes, oh, he's talking again. That's how I'm looking at it now. Yeah, good lessons. Loved my digestive biscuits. Oh yeah, I think I showed that was the mood that I was in. You can still have a life and get results. Okay, that was in Philippines, but that I think it symbolizes quite a lot now. Like I said before, I didn't used to talk to the sun, so that was a common thing when I went away. This was in an island in the middle of nowhere that apparently got evacuated. There was a 5-star hotel on this island deserted, and when the tsunami hit a long time ago, it was left. So you saw the moon rise red and the sun set. Yeah, just nice. A really good trip. So this time now, I'm going through books, really good books. Some of these, that's brilliant. More Time to Think, The Richest Man in Babylon. But if you notice, the kind of old school businessy sort of stuff still. More Time to Think was just brilliant for listening. And then it starts getting you changing the way that you are. Productivity Ninja. One of my favorite books, Grant Cardone. Wow. Be Obsessed or Be Average. That was one of my favorite ones to listen to. He talks to you. He's a proper salesman. He's got to be Dodge. He's got to be. That was good because there was no the way that he delivered it was just freestyle. No, yeah, that was a good one. The Power of Habit, really cool. But you can start seeing. Remember when I said notice my progress? So 2018, I'm up at almost 30 books at this time, or 31 in the library, and I'm now completing the books quite a lot. Then it was listening to big books. This was 22 or 23 hours. I remember some of my drives listening to it. Didn't really take much in, and there's a lot I've got to go back to now, knowing for me he's still alive and he's part of this. But just things what are said in that now, yeah, these sort of things are the ones that were inspired. Used to inspire me was the biographies of people. This is what really helped me about 18 months ago, and I've meditated every day since. Oh, okay, so I'm even saying in 2019, look, I'm now on my own journey. I'm even taking photos of trees and meditating. So things are starting to change. I'm now a beast lifting my most as well. Now I'm gambling on football, little things. I'm now taking courses for my education, nutrition courses up in that building I showed you, the Gherkin. We rented that out. So things were looking good. And the education, I kind of got pushed into it to myself because the other person didn't get involved at all. But I loved teaching, and I love bringing new people into the industry. Like, you don't do my course unless you're passionate. And I used to be able to explain through my experience then. And so getting a lot more people used to come on my courses, but the people that used to come on and sort that now, again, I can see what they're doing since. Not interested at all in the sort of books of self-improvement. I read all these books. I am perfect already. Do not need inspiration. Life is just... That's a very limited way of looking at things. If you're not interested in anyone else's book, because you call it self-improvement, it's their stories. Their story is a story that you'll never see, and they'll say things that will stick with you, that will make your story and it'll solidify it more. So when people say things like that, without the awareness of the creation, which we haven't seen it all at the moment, it takes someone else to show you it for you then to make sense. Otherwise, it's just a limited approach in the life that you have and the teachers that you experience. And sometimes you'll get shown things in meditation. It doesn't make any sense. I'll show you some stuff that comes up for me. Now it makes complete sense because of all the learning. So I encourage people, be interested in other stuff, but be interested in ones that resonate with you. I think this is my personal best.
The big 200. That is awesome.
And now I'm mixing with different people. So this is where the recruiters started coming to my life. Never been skiing before. I went to Chamonix. This was my first lesson.
You look at me and you... Okay. Okay, yes, to appeal. Stand up a bit more. Stand up a bit more. Okay, you look where you go, not your skis. Okay.
That was a cool trip. The people I went with, I didn't know any of them. Only at the local gym that I started going to. It was like a group fitness gym, and they were all big drinkers. Again, it was. I remember the different dynamics now as well. I think one of the ladies had gone through cancer, and I'd said something about cancer. It was a truth, but it took it really personally. It was just uncomfortable the rest of that. You know when you've upset someone and you don't know what you've done, that used to bother me. At this point now, through the self-development from the books that I was learning, it was like I don't need to react to other people's reaction if I know I haven't done anything wrong, because I was still so unconscious. There's certain things you don't. When someone says you said this, and you're like, did I? Now I know what I've said. I don't have that worry, whereas before I didn't. So sometimes you would say something you don't remember. Again, just a different world out there. Okay, so then I got invited to Butlins. Another best mate of mine was getting married. Butlins, no, worse than Butlins, Benidorm. It's mostly the worst place you can ever go to in Europe. If you're watching from America, it's where all the Brits go, get absolutely wrecked. I reckon I was 1%, even less than 1%, not drinking on this island. And this is with all the same mates. But you can see the difference now. I'm saying no, even in Benidorm, which is unheard of. I'm now saying no, but confident. And I had a nice time. I caught up with people, and I was in bed by the time I needed to be in bed. And then that was like 5 years ago, from just falling asleep with phones in my hand and sunburnt galore. I remember that night. That was in Portugal. Now I'm doing half marathons. And again, you can see I just go with the flow. The shoes that I was wearing was weightlifting shoes. I did the whole half marathon in those. And then doing the other stuff still. So it's kind of like combinations. That was the next month. And this is my circle. Red Notice is going to come in quite a lot at the moment with what's going on in the world, but that's a good book. And then I'm turning into a bit of a machine at this point now. So on the coaching course, I then graduated. I'm now teaching. I'm coaching. I'm doing a few of my clients in the gym. I've got them for coaching sessions. I'm training now. The lady who was to be a recruiter actually, she said, "Do you want to do this race? It's 12 hours. It's in Ireland. It's called Quest. You've got to complete the race in 12 hours, otherwise you don't get your score." Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. What does it involve? It was bike, climbing a mountain, bike, canoeing, bike half marathon. And so I bought a brand new bike, and again, didn't know anything. This guy invited me to talk to people for his course. I cycled all the way to Reading from London and then did the talk then. So just things like that. I'm looking back now going, whoa, not planned. I remember didn't even have the route properly mapped for a little bit, and it kept taking me to the canal paths. But the reason why I'm highlighting all these is like things are changing, but I'm still not aware. So now when I do things, I go with the flow, but I'm already thinking ahead. So if I'm going there, if this happens, or if this approaches me, or I've got different things, or I'm aware of, if someone, for example, when I was back in the UK, I didn't have car insurance, don't do insurance anymore. So I knew exactly what to say. If I ever got pulled over, I knew exactly what to say. I had the whole script all played out. Just to show you, I'm now starting to drift away from my mate. So this is the wedding. I'm starting to drift away. So I remember at this wedding as well, I had actually then booked on purpose the day after. It was a London to Brighton bike ride. So after the wedding, I got up early in the middle of the night, and then I drove down and I did my race. So things are now shifting here. My mates were all good mates, all drinking with each other. I showed this one because this is where I started getting to with words, the way that we label just body shapes and stuff. And what I was trying to say is like how we can judge someone else by the words. Then I started to cycle. For people that cycle, for me, it's magic. Especially, I started seeing England, especially Surrey and stuff as well. And it was something about going downhill. It was something about being in nature. And I realized you're in flow, you're on your own, you're in your thoughts. So I used to love cycling. I was good at that stage as well, and I started going to indoor cycling. This was brilliant, and this is the beauty of London. You have all this technology, so I was doing this every day at one point, getting fit for it. The bike will condition you through technology now exactly to your VO2 max, and yeah, I enjoyed all that. If you like spiritual music, this guy really helped me as well. He's called Krishna Das. Becoming Krishna Das is a very, very good documentary. His music just puts. Okay, so I would never go to anything like this beforehand. Like this, I remember playing this sometimes, and my mates were like, "What are you listening to?" And this, it was kind of a build-up. But I remember certain songs. Actually, I remember exactly how it was. There were certain songs I was looking around, and like people were in a trance, people were crying, people were swaying. Amazing. Like people were healing from his music. So again, this is God, this is creation. And by the end, look how everyone's just dancing. Brilliant. I've seen him twice now, same place both times. It was in the Angel, North London, in the chapel, I think it was called. Definitely worth listening to that. Someone mentioned earlier about sadness as well. His music's really good for releasing it. Babu Hanuman. And it just flashed back then. I remember in Hawaii listening to him. I remember in my bike listening to him all the time. So that music was helping me on the bigger long runs and the long cycles. I was just in my own flow. Hi, Emily. Good to see you. Now I'm starting to work with a bit more technology. So we're doing 3D body scans. Had that in our gym. And then I go to Hawaii. So in Hawaii, I went for a Deepak Chopra meditation retreat. And I had about 4 days to myself beforehand. So this was a long trip booked for myself. And I was looking forward to this. It was June 2019. So I did a half marathon while I was there. That was the view that you'd got. It just felt like it never ended because it was just long straight roads, and it was like the desert where we was. Hawaii just is magic all over on the big island. I'll show you a few things. But this is the time now. I realized the mountain I went up was actually the highest mountain in the world from sea level to the tip. I went up there, which I'll show you in a minute. I had synchronicities. Didn't really learn too much. Really learn too much from Deepak because I wasn't aware of the knowledge and stuff then, whereas now it made a lot more sense. So 2 moments, I've shared this on one of my talks the other day. Sunsets, I've seen a lot of them. Always appreciate a sunset. So this is when we got up there. That you're above the clouds.
Above the clouds. This is nuts.
Oh, I've got the buzz. Like, so this was a magic day. That was my best photo of the holiday. Look at that. So as you see how I'm red on this photo, or first of all, in the hostel, and this is how things all happen in the hostel, I'd said to myself, and I didn't really stay in hostels much on a lot of the other trips, only this period. And I said, I want to go up Mauna Kea. So when I got there, I didn't see anyone that night. I slept, woke up, met the first person I met. It was an Iranian guy living in Alaska. And he said, I'm going up Mauna Kea today, and I'm a photographer. So blessed to have someone, and he loved his photography. This was like, I had to wait there for about 15 seconds before the focus come in. So that's why you saw it like this. But if you see I'm red, as it flashed, it was pitch black, and someone in the car park had pressed the brake. So it lit me up like that. But that's a real, that's not edited at all. Or sorry, the way that he's processed it, but they're all real stars. Then no added stars on. So look how much in the sky that we don't see. It was magic. So I did a post. It was like a year later in October where everything changed for me. It was a day that changed my life in terms of a knowing. I've learned different authors at different times and decade, experienced new growth. I'm obsessed with how fast and far and grow now. Yeah, I love that, Amanda. And that's the thing. Every teacher comes to you at the right time. You have to be open to it. There's always someone who knows more. And the thing is, once into the stage where you are connected, it's God. God chooses what to speak through different people. It's never going to be the same. And also language is a made-up concept anyway. It's the way that we connect to each other. So it's just us knowing the Milky Way, the manager where the sun goes to be on. And they call this the Great Rift or something. And yeah, it'd be interesting to know more about the stars. And then this was the one though. Because the next morning you had to go down because it was too high up at the altitude. And then you go back up in the morning. We were sleeping at about 12,000 altitude in the car. And this sunrise that come up, left me in a moment of awe. It just was it was silence. I remember the feeling. It was magic. So
it's 5:30 in the morning, and we've come back up the mountain after camping at about 9,000 feet. And let's see if we can see it. It's like you're on top of the world. It's really cool.
I just want to show you if there is one. I haven't seen these, but it's a time lapse. Oh no, I missed it. The sun come up there. Yeah, brilliant. So if I could recommend somewhere to go, Big Island. So I saved this one for you just to show the weather conditions. This is a 2-hour trip up the mountain. Just to show you, I thought Hawaii was just hot. In Kona on the resorts, it was the same weather all the time. Literally going up this way, completely different. Such a good trip. Yeah, really cool. But again, different weather conditions on a 2-hour trip. Just an experience never had before. And if you notice now, like there's all of a sudden, it's gone from all these photos of me topless, and there was obviously still in every, there's quite a lot still. But now there's outside world. So I'm working on myself, but I'm looking out. I'm experiencing, and there's a quote that stuck with me on will come up. Double rainbows. It was just everything about this trip was
Best looking rainbow I think I've ever seen. Double.
Helicopter trip. I did quite a lot when I was out there, and then met Deepak. Went through all this different stuff. I wasn't paying really attention back then. However, this is where I feel like the soul come alive, because it's an experience of letting go. So people have done bungee jumps and they've done skydives and stuff. It's something that I would recommend, just based on a fear aspect of letting go, because my life changed after this completely. again, I get the rush from that sort of stuff as well. I wouldn't never scream or anything like that normally. It was almost like a release to let out. Obviously, these guys do it all the time. It was amazing experience. And think about now where I say in terms of height up, I'm jumping, I'm dropping. So this was the yoga retreat. It was brilliant. It was really good. There was people from, I think they said it was about 74 or so countries. Yeah, it was a really international crowd. Every day you got up to do a meditation at 6, then you did yoga, and then it was just learning. And then at this time, I'm learning John McAfee. So back in the gym doing my movement stuff. I need to go into it. Now I'm doing yoga. Didn't really appreciate yoga too much because it's before work. You have to rush, you get out. But can you see how my life's shifting? Look, I'm now an adventure guy, fitness. So I've gone from get wrecked all the time and now I'm doing other stuff. But what am I really doing? I'm seeing God's creation. And I'm doing it like in my own experience, my own story. And all of that you could say is healthy. I didn't really appreciate at the time. It was just a natural thing that would happen by making a choice. Something else will come in its place. You don't have to figure it out. It just comes to you. So I'm now doing corporate talks in law firms and stuff. I shared that one. I think that was the last rave that I went to with my mates. And then I did my 12-hour race. I just wanted to show this one just to even in the race.
I wasn't going to get my phone out in this race, but you've got to see this. Oh, I just fell over. Got to climb up this now. We've gone up some ridiculous hills. That's insane.
Yeah, 10 hours 38 I completed it. 33,000 descent. It was a brilliant experience as well. Look how many calories were burned on that. Again, I achieved something, set out, and I remember, and this is something to become aware of as well. When people go, oh, I've done a marathon, the most insulting question you can ask, which is so automatic, oh, how long did it take you? It's the most irrelevant question ever. Well done. Wow, amazing. Like, how did you feel about that? What time did you get? It means nothing. And even if someone said a number, it would still mean nothing to you. So when it gets to like just completing the race like that, you appreciate everyone. And I was listening to Eckhart Tolle. I think my next thing is The Power of New Earth. Again, I remember it so much. I'm present. The book changed again. And there was a few unprepared for this race. I didn't even have a puncture repair kit on me. I'd never really been a hands-on guy. He used to help me with my punches when he used to do them for me when I was younger. And when I come here, I stupidly shipped my bike over. So you had to take it apart to put it in the box. And then I had to put it up the night. It was storming, raining outside. And I lost a bit. So my seat weren't working properly. It was falling down. I was stressing before the race, like all these things. And then what happened was, and I remember this is actually quite a powerful bit as well, helping others. Quite early on in the race, I had a really good start. And I'm like, right, I'm getting into this. My chain gets caught up. And I'm like up a hill and everyone's just going past me now. And I'm like, oh my God, the race already. I can't get it work. And I tried my hardest. This guy stopped off his bike and helped me. And then got on again. I'm like, that. And that's what it doesn't matter about as long as you complete the race, unless you're a professional, enjoy the experiences. Like just get an experience to say, your face on the mountain walk is alive, shifting in the knowing, Harry. Great to see. You can see from that interview. Hi, John. Good to see you, mate. You can see from that interview on BBC, right, to now. And my feelings weren't the same. My body's now becoming alive. I'm out in nature. I'm up at these highest mountains. That part there in Ireland, that was called the Ring of Kerry. Kerry's beautiful in the summer, by the way. And that was at Devil's Ladder, I think the mountain was called. It was amazing experience. Got my thing, got a smile. That was Devil's Ladder. Just again, different part of the world. Look at it. It's just green. Now I'm getting into breath work. Oh, that was 2017, so 2 years. My turn to give this a go. Number. Wow. So I was doing breath work a long time ago. Now I'm a coach. I'm doing my videos. I leave my mark. I don't need to go through all these, but I'm doing my motivational talks. Bit more happy. Let me see on this one.
One of the things that I stand by is to always keep learning. You can never know enough. And I think as a person to grow, you have to keep educating yourself. So one of the things that I do is if I see something that's relevant to a family member or a client, I will send it their way. And I always encourage them, read it, watch it, and just see how much it impacts your life.
Bit happier. I remember doing them though as take after take. It wasn't flow like I am now. So I'm now learning, but going back each time in videos, I didn't even dare pick up the camera. I didn't like doing it. When I did do it, I used to edit it all the time. But I needed all that for where I am now. It's a journey. So when people say I'm never ready, I'm not ready, oh, it's not good enough yet, it never is. It never is. And you keep working. So now I'm going on all sorts of trips. And remember, I've got my job of losing passion from the company because of my business partner. We just weren't getting, and there was a split at this time. And like I said earlier, I feel like his role to start with was do a few years with him, milk it all, and then go on to the next one, not expecting us to do how we did, especially when we opened the second gym, had to get another loan out in the bank. And there was a lot of debt on that company, a lot of it. But if that looks at the account that goes into the system, for them, it's a win. I was thinking about it today. Like I had a business model where my staff were making $5,000 a month from doing sessions from the clients that we provided for. I didn't get close to that ever. It was crazy that you do all this stuff. Like we were turning 1.8 million, as I said yesterday, for a measly profit. And that's hard work. It's graft. That's a system that doesn't work for you. The highest purpose of this body is to use to awaken to the truth of who you are. If it's for any other purpose, then the body, it's just pajamas of being. We're just sleeping in it. The highest purpose is to use to awaken to who you are. I would go beyond that. Our body's like a spaceship. It's to really understand the body and what it is. That is the intelligence. That is God. So the outside world, first of all, is to get our inspiration. Then we remove evil. Then we're in a world which is love. So it's all about creating from your feelings. And then it's about going deep within. And that's the meditation parts. And the next part, I feel, with quantum. So there's a lot more to our body that we know that's capable of. And it is just to keep treating your body like God. And if you flip God round, if you don't want to accept that, treat it like a dog. Your dog loves you. Your dog is always present. Your dog will do anything to make you healthy and happy. That's your body. Do you treat your body like a dog? Now I'm in Yosemite in California. I think I was... Yeah, this is brilliant as well. Again, I'm going up mountains and hiking all the time. Look at this. I was never one for hiking. So so watch this now, people. This is the way my mind works from a soul perspective. All you see there is God. There's nothing out of the ordinary there, ego, anything out of it. So the higher up you go, all you've got is God's creation. So anything that then comes into, if it might be a sign or it might be a bird or something, if you ask yourself questions whilst you're walking, something will show, it will make sense for you. All of that is God. Look at it now. Just imagine that I'm not there, but that's your eyes are now looking out at that. Think about your mind in terms of expansiveness. Look at the freedom you got. What is that at that high level? You got a whole 360 degree. It's higher. You're not the body or the mind. No, not at all. If you cut your mind open, you're not in there. If you cut your body open, you're not in there. If you get a microscope and zoom in on it, it's an empty space too. But this, for me, is something that will stimulate a response inside you. You've got computer games now that shows you all this scenery and people are not noticing, but it's showing us what else there is out there. Just to show you the different heights. People die doing selfies of this sort of stuff.
That's mad.
Amanda, I read Conversations with God today, and the function of the body is to act out the choices the mind makes. Exactly. Mind sets the body. Whenever you work on your mindset, you got to think of body too. Your body does anything, and that's why sleep's so important, because your mind's out the way and your body just then gets to work and says, well, I'm going to do it my way now, but I love you, mind. I'll do it any other way. Whatever you say, I'll do. More, I remember that one actually, is in San Fran. Just certain sunsets remember you. And then I was out, oh, that's why I was out there. I was out here for a competition. Marina, let's go. Let's go. So just all sorts of things, breath work. And then I saw Eckhart Tolle at the Royal Albert Hall. And then from this moment, this was my dream, is to sell out. And this is to be something I'm still putting out there, is to sell out this hall and take people through a meditation experience.
Without the conceptual mind, you can sense that the tree is not only rooted in the soul.
The energy would be amazing. But that's a great book to recommend. Newer, really good. I'm now an ambassador for Polar. I started getting some watches. I'm sleeping and I'm trying all sorts of things with breathing through my nose. Now all I can do is breathe through my nose, but you take your mouth up at night. And this is something that goes back to indigenous. If a baby sleeps with the mouth open, the mum will stick and close the mouth together. If you think about energy inside your body, it's your genie, and at night time, all that energy is used for healing. Every time you breathe out your mouth, you're just letting that magic go. So if you get yourself used to breathing through your nose, and I ask people to bring it back, start from scratch on my expansion courses, the breathing, but work on the most minimal breath ever. And see if you can just get to a stage where that's all you need. And then you increase it. And then it helps you breathe. So start from scratch. More bets. Oh, yeah. So this was what I was going to say to you as well. So I showed you yesterday. There would be little bets. Well, I say little. It's getting like 90. Yeah, £90 to put on that. Okay, so it was getting a bit more on there. I'd win a lot, but I'd lose a lot. All the photos on my phone, all of them, betting or the crypto that I showed you, it was only the wins that I had up there. I couldn't find any losses that I took a photo of to show people. So that's, again, example in terms of our thoughts. We choose sometimes what we want to focus on. We're not paying attention to everything. So that was just quite interesting to see. Now I'm writing about experience, 10 years at my company. So a lot of change. 10 years at number one. Then went to a course in Germany. So we're going to different courses. Christmas party. More cocaine with the staff. That was a big thing as well. Balloons. So I'm not drinking. My reading's going ridiculous now as well. Or I say reading, my book consumption. And I continue. I've got this habit in terms of me learning, especially before bed. I always meditate before bed, and I put a book on. Normally it's the same 2 books now. It's because I like where it doesn't make sense. I like that going into my sleeps. So it takes away reality. Like Susan said, like there is no body, there's no mind, but you know the body and you know the mind. You're the knower. So I like having it kind of talking in the background and zooming off. But this was a big lesson for me, and something I share with any business owner. Businesses are going to change anyway. Don't do drugs, full stop. But I'm not the one to say that, because I learned a lot from don't do drugs with your staff. Don't, and I say don't. For me now, there's not even any of that. Is turn up as your best self all the time. If you're a business owner, what is a best self business owner? Is a respect. People will respect you. I had respect, and then I'd have a lack of respect. They don't take you as serious. Anyone that does coke now would do any business with them. You're not present. You're at the ultimate low in that energy. If people weren't aware of it, though, I've seen women date guys and they're off their face. They don't know. They're off their face at family functions. They don't know they're even on coke. You can feel it as an energy. It's horrible. So I was still doing this with some of the staff that I had a good friendship with now. I was still their boss. And the thing is, because I live with my mate, they'd come back to my house as well. So yeah. And it was very difficult. You blur your boundaries. Now, my advice is don't do it, like in terms of just what you're doing to your health and your energy. But then it's a learning process. So people on different stages, that's a no-no now. And also knowing how the world is spying on you, they'll use that to hold it against you at some point. It's funny as well because my mum phoned me up because I sometimes forget. She goes, "I watched a thing last night." She goes, "Guy, I don't know anything about you. I didn't know anything about you." And I feel like I'm oblivious as a mum saying it, right? I was thinking about that a few minutes after, and I watched this one as well. I didn't know me. I didn't know any of that. Like, mums don't need to know all this stuff. You'd be freaking out all the time. Like, this is what adults do. Mums, I was asking questions, even like probing. You know, when people ask questions just to try and get something, just ask questions. Questions is key, but from your own. Yeah, it's different with mum and sons, but for me, that's a label now. I've realised conversations and stuff all got to change. She said, I didn't know any of this about you either. And I feel like if you go back, even look at you didn't know yourself then, you just know yourself now. So it's just interesting. And remember, it's the past. It's my story. I can't change my story. I can word it. I can reframe it. I can take a different meaning to it. I can definitely take things from it. I can't fast. But for all these moments now, I speak about it. And the moments, you then heal because it's not in your body anymore. Just an example of, we used to then start doing team events. So this is 2020 February. So we know what 2020 was. So this is towards the end of me. These are all my staff people now that I'm doing the event. Can you hear me? 33 watching. Love that number. Can you see me, people? Hello, hello, hello. I think it's when I play the videos, sometimes it cuts off. Right. I was saying just on this one, I actually wanted to die on that race. So that was a phase of, I've got nothing in me. I had about 5 or 6 more laps to go. And I just, my whole body had packed up. Yeah, it was torture. So this is the age of COVID now. So COVID was, because I was into my truth and stuff anyway, I thought this is the joke. The whole thing is, didn't really appreciate what it was going to be. The city of London just shut down. So we had to wear gloves and stuff. I was saying, I'm not closing my gym. And we got a little battle with my business partner who got a lawyer involved and made me sign a non-disclosure to say that if there was any fines put against the gym, because I decided to still use it, I was going to have to pay it all. I wouldn't have signed it. I did because I knew nothing was going to happen and I could talk my way out of it. It's harder on businesses, but I'd still be able to talk my way out of it. We were doing all home workouts that I was with my housemate anyway. So I would take, and then you'd do it on. Yeah, it was just, but the thing is, my staff then were training our clients from home. but there was no need to like pay any rent for us. The clients are saying, why don't I just pay you directly? And we just started losing business. So for the year, it was closed for 7 months, and the other months it was open, it was dead anyway. So we just lost a lot of business. I'm looking at every day, looking at truth every day. I think we had Pizzagate and Tom Hanks, and what else did you have? The Fall of Kabul. You had all. It was right at the start of it all. So my whole passion for my gyms was just going down the gym all the time. So this was this stage. Oprah, I can't believe it. I remember the woman that I met out in Hawaii. She gave me a session, and then the next day, all this. She gave me a past regression healing on Zoom, and I thought she just completely mugged me off. She said, "Look, turn your camera off, lay down for an hour, and then come back again after." And I'm laying there, and I'm like, she must be just having a fag or something now, and I'm paying for this. She goes, "Did you feel anything?" I'm like, "No." "What about your hands?" "No." And she looked at me and through the camera, and she said, "Harry, you may not feel something now, but you will feel something." That night, I watched the Joe M video, and I'm like, oh my God, there are good people fighting for us. That was the day where I'm like, it confirmed, because I'd watched a lot of Truth, but it was a missing piece to my puzzle. But these people were bad then, and then Tom Hanks and went in. I'm like being an influencer now, and I'm looking at things like this. It's like, what can you do while you're waiting for a coffee and stuff? And good content. No one cares. No one cares in the city. Like it's almost like you're talking to the wrong audience. So things like this was I was trying all different stuff. We was doing quiz nights. Again, I've got my tinfoil hat on. All the stuff on Tom Hanks. Still doing some of my things. Cannabis oil now. So I'm now working. And again, the way that this guy come back into my life, and this is where I started working with people with cancer. So it changed, but just how person come back in, he worked with this. I was doing coaching. We then set up another project, and notice all my images that I start sharing now. So this is the sort of stuff that you see in psychedelics, crazy things like this that you can't put into words. I don't know how these people remember and recall some of it, but it is crazy. But that was the image that come up for me. So you can see like Mr. Harry drunk doing handstands is now turning to spiritual. But just to show you the business aspect, we knocked this business up. This guy was making oil. We partnered with 2 other people who are proper hustlers. We started making gummy bears and infused syrups. This is in COVID. I was the one that was told to go and drive around the country picking up cannabis, which is illegal in the UK. I feel like that was a setup. These people come in. I know they must have knew each other because they both used to work at my gym, but they didn't. But now I know that all them links and the way that it was just didn't make sense at the time. But me and this guy who partnered these other 2, we got talked to and treated like shit. Like you'd all in the middle where 2 people bitching about a person, and it was almost like I got shouted all sorts of things, and I took it. And so did he. Like we were doing 24 hours of cooking and stuff, and it was a whole operation. But look, we made these. We did all sorts of stuff. Okay, thank you. And we're still showing photos. Talking to myself. Thank you. Right, so back. Okay, so Tom Hanks, tinfoil hat. My exercise, stretching and stuff as well. Thank you for jumping in, Amanda. I would have kept going then. So cannabis oil, and I was working with clients, but these sort of images. This is DNA, this is 5-MeO, this is God to an extreme that you don't know about. Like the Bible can't picture any of this stuff. You can't put that into words. I've said the most amazing yet unexplainable experiences, and you can't even recall them after time. So these are amazing. But look, that was the image that I was saying. And I used to make a few little posts. But what used to at this point, Paul, was like this is 2020, and I started getting all these downloads, and I'm having all these thoughts, and I'm putting them into words, and I'll show you. So these are the sorts of things I look at, like, and if you look at the shapes, and people are drawing this, remembering it. But look, we made medical grade. It was cool. Like what we did. Another book for anyone watching this, really encourages 50 Cent's book. If you're not into Lorena, if it is your son, I think this book audio, just say listen to 50 Cent's book, is a game changer. So I said meet Curtis 50 Cent in 2020. I remember where I was when I listened to him. He even in the book, he doesn't drink. He was meditating. He met Deepak Chopra. I'm like, what is going on? And I know that he's a white hat. His program Power is showing you stuff that's going on. I feel like he's played a massive role with all of this, and Eminem's helped get him out. So I will meet him one day. But look at just my explanation. This is the first time I did this God molecule. It's called 5-MeO. So this was the way. So I started describing certain things as best I could. I had the opportunity to try the toad Bufo. I understood everything. I was on some crazy roller coaster. There was no me anymore, no body, no awareness, no I. It was pure infinity. Everything transformed into everything. There was nothing, and nothing meant everything all at the same time. I felt that I reached a definitive point of consciousness. There wasn't anything else to fear. It was a beautiful, continuous amalgamation of colors and feelings, so much why it was endless. Honestly, it was truly incredible. The story has no start date or no end. It just is. I came out singing in a number of different voices at the finished ceremony. The energy, the spirits, my inner gods were all speaking through me. I too shed a tear because it was so wonderful that there is an excitement of what's to come. I wrote those words. So, and I've got a few more. So these were like, we were making big orders even already, but the guys that I was doing it with weren't good guys. Like, weren't good in terms of the other stuff that they were doing. And in the end, I just had enough where the way that I was spoken to, and I wanted it for money, obviously struggling with the COVID stuff, but it didn't resonate with me because of the people. And I'm writing all this sort of stuff. Look, we're making gummy bears. 50 Cent's book, yeah. This is the plant. I don't think I even showed you the other side of the plant. I had a plant where I was like, I'm going to look after this. The thing was growing like a monster. It was insane. But packaging, we did all this in about 4 months, I think. You disrespect how much disrespect you have given your body. Respect with time you'd be in prison. All sorts of things. I remember doing this video. This is June. Listen to the voice. I'm always out of breath at this and panting.
Listen to this. So the Great Awakening is about to happen. And I don't think we realise how much it's going to affect the entire planet. The only people that it's not going to affect is the ones that are awake. The ones that have been searching for truth for a long time. It won't affect us at all. But everyone else, the levels of awakening that they have to reach to get to where we are, they're just at the start. And to go from the start to paedophilia, satanic, Satanism, cannibalism, the most horrendous crimes, that would be such a shock to the nervous system that the world is going to go into a state of suffering. But what comes forward is the new leaders, the ones that people look up to, the ones that people realise that they're not in fear and that they've been saying the same stuff all along, the ones that they can go to and be confident now that their voice actually means one thing, and it's just to protect the human race. So new leaders are born, which is me and you, buddy.
So that was a message I sent to my mate. Again, just at that time, it was the world would have gone into a state of suffering, but we just expected Donald Trump to win the election. That's why it's taken so long, because it would have been a shock. That's why we've all had to go through it all. We've all had to learn that's not a truth. That doesn't feel right. That's going to move on from that. So again, just showing different things, but this popped up on my phone. Notice the logos, notice the name. Again, going back, you might start seeing different things connecting. I remember all this sort of stuff. I was doing my own research, finding all these sorts of people. Nikki, gosh, Harry, I admire you saying so much of your vulnerability. So this word, vulnerability, is only from your point of view. I see it as now, and vulnerability is a simple word. Being vulnerable is the past, and being vulnerable is only the perception of someone else that thinks you're being vulnerable. Because it's almost like, oh, I don't think I could do that. What, be brave or vulnerable? But if we only have now, and you say the words "I am," and you've just told me something that you label as vulnerable, like it's taken you some guts to do it all, and you've just said it all, and I ask you, what are you now? Who are you now? I am. Would you finish the word? I am a human being. Would you finish that sentence with vulnerable? I'm a human being vulnerable? Or I am a human being courageous or strong or powerful? If you get a choice, vulnerability is a myth. So I encourage people, pay attention to that word. It's stuck in the past, and that's a reflection. So I am sharing, I'm definitely sharing a lot more. This is a nice thing for me just to do it all. But I realize what is the purpose of life? It's to learn about yourself. How do you learn about yourself? You have to now go back and reflect. Time's been the concept that we've not been used to. Going backwards don't make sense because you've never been able to do that in history. You've never had, unless you've got books written, you've never been able to. How do you store the book? We've now got the technology to do it. So I encourage people, go back, your phones, and knowing that everything that's ever gone on the internet is waiting for you at some point. So these were all coming up for me in my experiences and meditations. We learn we are awake, we rest when we sleep, and we go crazy when we meditate. 888, the perfect sequence. 8 hours sleep, awake, and I've continued to use that ever since now. And I'm writing stuff like this, and people notice the changes that are taking place. These are words flowing out of me, not something that I would ever use before. I now know pure happiness comes from the vibrations in your voice. That cannot be faked. If you are lying, the harmony of the vibrations are not in sync. The slightest variant from complete happiness can be detected in the voice. When you are speaking, listen for clarity of the voice, not the words. You can really understand how someone is feeling. Words are barriers. Life is a vibration. That is a definition of essence. Use our senses to understand the vibrations. I'm telling you, it's cannabis. I'm telling you, it's plant medicine. It opens you up, and all of a sudden, all these things now, when you're wet, you can put it into words. You mostly see all this every single day, but you can't put it into words, or you don't have the awareness for it. And now I look at life completely differently. But reading these back, like I said, when you learn, when you mentioned about not reading from anyone else, I'm reading this. That wasn't me back then. That was definitely God. But I'm learning from someone else. So anyone that creates, anyone that writes authentically, that's God. So when we say we can't learn from anyone else, we're learning from God, because all creation, the thing that that mentality, I would say, is being only for this moment in time, because most people that deliver information, it's not theirs. It's remembered. It's not authentic. So we don't learn from others because it's more pure inside. But if we can accept that we are all God's children, not just one man, Jesus, all God's children, and God speaks and works through us all, through sports, through singing, through dance, through this sort of stuff. It's God then. Appreciate someone else, and God appreciates you. Got my vision board going at this time. I was doing a group coaching, looking through. But these are images now. When I said about different things in your phone in terms of the quotes of where you are, but I've got all these images and stuff. I remember this book, brilliant, Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl. He was experiencing the concentration camps. It's magic. God through my meditations. Yeah, God's magic. And also, Cherry, when you say that now, it's like more. You use the word the inner you as well. Like you there's an inner knowing now. But that definition of God that it's almost impossible still to put it into words for people to understand what you're feeling, right? God cannot be put into words, and people's perception of God is so limited, or from someone else's story or an experience before. When you can start really appreciating what comes up and know that that's God, life changes. So now I'm 33, August the 9th, 2020. So I met someone, fell in love, fell in love, and I fell in love. I fell in love with the soul, but I fell in love. She was going through chemotherapy, and I did like different things. So I managed to get people to do like the support like this. I remember exactly what I was doing at this time. I'd never had this spark, but it was something inside me, and I feel like the love that I was putting out come back. But I got people to salute, and then turned it into like a collage, and there's a butterfly and stuff, just different things. And I remember when I met this person, I was meant to be going on a drive to Manchester. Again, I see how all this is linking up now. And someone, I met this person, and it was like, you got to go Manchester to go and get some more medicine. I'm like, and I said no to the guy. I said, I'm not going. I'll do it tomorrow instead. I'm not going today, because I met this person. And I remember the next day I was I was studying primordial sound meditation. It was a 6-month course with Deepak. And I remember this quote was said in it. And it was, I remember driving because I was listening to Bruce Lipton's book beforehand, The Honeymoon Effect. And again, I remember speaking to my sister on the phone in the morning. I remember the sunset. I remember everything. And this is what I feel love is. Love is a presence, but it's like there's a life that comes out of you. So this is when my life started changing in terms of me. But on the outside, well, my life's crumbling all around me. My gyms are going to pot. I'm losing passion for all my different things, losing money. We got a bounce back loan, 45 grand. It was gone within a month because of all our rent didn't change. Like, it spirals, but it meant nothing to me because I had this purpose, like love. It was, and for me, it was another person initially. I didn't realize it was still the love that come out of me first with all this. But when you are appreciating creation as much as the creator, then the creator will ask, who is appreciating my creation as much as me? Let me see this person. Mahesh Yogi. I just remember that quote, and it's magic when you start appreciating. It does. What you put out will come back to you. Appreciation is just looking out and learning, like really paying attention and see what you can get. So now you can start seeing like everything was about connection, and this woman was struggling with going through chemo and stuff. And for me, all energy started really coming in. And every time I gave her a hug, it was take my energy, take what you need. And then every time I touched anyone, take my energy, have my energy. It was always sharing. Whenever you receive it, it's there for you. That image come back again. I showed you that one. You can't force a connection. We meet the right people at the right time under the right circumstances through natural vibrations. I agree with that loads. When you're the only one without a mask on an Asda, I agree with that too. But all my designs now, look, it's all like meditation and complete shifts. So this was the weekend that changed my life. I started the day with that Instagram. I've done a video on this one, but I started the day with that Instagram photo from the year before in Hawaii. And I said, intention a day, look out for a sign. This whole weekend was full of signs. But it was things like this, where the light comes on me. This used to happen when I was taking through people meditations at this period. The light would just bend and it would go on someone's head or it'd shine on there. And I used to say, that's God. It's like the soul ignited and it come on. I was in good shape then as well. So that was all home workouts at that point. And then about 2 minutes later, it's not there. It was just loads, but the whole weekend finished with this rainbow. When I was explaining to the woman, I was like, this whole weekend's been full of signs. 111. She went, nah, it can't be. That's just, look at the colors on that rainbow. So rainbows for me is the sign from God. You were exactly where you're meant to be when you saw it. That one was so vibrant. It was just after the story. And then as we walked out the coffee shop, that popped up. It was magic. So show this photo. So I hadn't really been going back to the area because I even started coming off of the boys group because it's just so negative. So I went back. I think I just went back for, I don't know what it was, but there was an event in the pub and I'm smiling And remember when I said there's different groups that do different things? So there's a few people in my life now going back, and I remember I wasn't drinking again. And this guy he said to me, "Look at you, all happy and smiling." He said it like that. And then someone else sat me down really drunk, and I'm just watching. And I am happy. It's good to catch up with people. Obviously, I've met this woman now as well. And I've got purpose. Like, I want to better myself. I've got excitement. I've got a mission now. Still in my job. I've still got so the little battle. And this other guy goes, "Harry, what have you got to show for yourself?" And I didn't react to it. I was like, "What do you mean?" He went, "What have you got to show for yourself? Like, you've been doing all this, but what have you got to show for yourself?" And it was that moment I was like, "This ain't for me now. Like, this is the next chapter." And I just disconnected from a lot of it. I come out of the group, all sorts of things. I just like it looked like an angel at Windsor Castle. Again, just the images now that I'm getting. Now this is in my bedroom. I really encourage people to get things like this. It helps you open up, because it's 4 dimensions, 5. It takes you into the depths. Mandalas. And then I've got all these things in my bedroom. So I'm turning into a bit of a hippie. I'm now gone from business development to New Earth to now the Bhagavad Gita, which is like the most read book in Hinduism. Like, complete shifts. 365 days now, meditating consistently. I'm not someone that just does it every now and then. I'm definitely not someone that puts on some nice music and does some words over the top of it, which is pretty much the internet of meditation. Meditation's God. So it has to be done with love. It has to be authentic. Can't be taught like this and go like that if you're not that, because it's the energy that we're working on. Words is the mind. So I was having these moments, so completely checked out. My whole body in a moment fell asleep. I felt my whole body switch off, like the bell has ended the day and everyone drops what they are doing. My forehead switched off. I felt my skin and hairs collapse slowly. The whole body hit with sleeping gas. What was really weird was that pure awareness was still there. I felt like camouflaged ninja on the body in stealth as it had fallen asleep, feeling the internal parts of the body working and repairing as the rest of the body was resting. Send more energy to the spots needed. Sometimes demand more to get there. All it needs is attention. What a great feeling to witness my own self falling asleep and understanding that it wasn't me, as I'm still here experiencing it, as if I am the jockey riding the neck. Just like my way of thinking and observing and stuff, just something that took place on me. This is the levels of awareness now for yourself. You pay attention. I used to send these to people like this, and then like, what is he going on about? They're never going to get it. And I realized what happens is when you have these moments, it's so magical and so mind-blowing for yourself. It's like, where's this coming from? What's this? I saw it, and you want to share it with people. These moments are only for you, though, and only the right person, when they show excitement, then you get involved. I encourage that. Keep it for yourself, and there will be the right moment when you then can share. Or there'll be, when you go back, you've got a story. It makes a lot more sense when you go back to read them more. But you need to capture them, because you'll forget. It's like God gave you a message and you didn't capture it. And you can see all these images, all these sort of images, people come to you in all these psychedelics and stuff as well. I just feel it's a way to stretch the imagination, to show you that we're so limited in terms of what we feel that we can do and know that we can do, and what God is really capable of. And also it helps you just detach from this world that we're seeing. It is a phony, false world that we get attached to. When you're getting shown things, and again, it's helped me with my meditations. I like the film Inception to help look at it. Now I'm living in, or I'm staying, looking after. I guess I was looking after as well, but I was helping with her recovery and being there for energy and stuff. But she lived near Hyde Park, and I used to do this walk every day. So I'm looking at this place now. I won't need to play this now, but this is after Donald Trump lost the election. I bet money on that as well. So confident. I'm following every single day. And this is when pretty much my whole life started going downhill. So she's getting better and better. I'm getting more and more confident, right? I don't want to be here anymore in what I'm doing. Donald Trump's going to win. The world's going to change. The world's going to go in shock, but we're going to be fine. Wasn't expecting that, but it's the backlash that I got from people. It was horrible that I got from friends, evil. But I realized, and I didn't know why there was so much hate. All the people at the time were really pushing loads of stuff. They all flipped on me because they're part of the criminal syndicate. You've got to think it's one system. So what naturally Trump's going to win, so we're just going to fight on the other person. We're then going to work for the midterms. We're still fine. Don't worry, we'll be all right. We've got these people in play. And then it didn't happen. Like, it wasn't expected, but it was a turn. I don't need to go into it. I'm now noticing signs and stuff. I was like, oh, it's all satanic, and it's not satanic. There's an eye. There's the logos. Like, it's again highlighting things in plain sight from different perspectives. We all know someone that is boring. Are they boring, or does the questions being asked to them need improving? Questions unlock the answers to everything. I'm now in Brazil for Christmas and meet the family or reconnect with the family because they come over to London. I'm in the middle of nowhere in Brazil, a place called Barreiras. And I saw the Freemason thing in this town. It was in the middle of nowhere. Like, I was the only white person, gringo there. It was a completely different experience, but I was happy. And then look at my face. This is December the 20th, 2020. And then I come back, and I think I'll play just the first bit, but this is what I saw. So I'm out in Brazil, not wearing a mask, was in Rio, and people were wearing masks at this point, but this is the first start of it. I come back, and I had to come back. And when I was out there, I found my business partner. I said, I'm not doing the gym anymore. I said, I'll give you 3 months. I'll work for you, but I'm going to give you the whole business. You can take it. This is after 12 years. I couldn't do it anymore. It's just a stress. It's like every day was surviving. I'm out in my dream place now in the sun. I'm with the dream woman. I'm now like learning everything. I just felt I was in bliss, and I had to come back to a company that I didn't want to put one of the gyms into liquidation. Spent 20K on to trying to save the other one, which again, I think it was all part of the thing just to get out. I feel the other person benefited from all of this. So when I said I wasn't going, it all started changing. So since being back in London, I've noticed how miserable everyone has become. It's so much worse than the first time. And by the way, no hairdressers were open at all in COVID time. So that was a messy air. When we was in lockdown. And I'm really starting to see it. Walking on the streets today, everyone was miserable. I didn't see one smile. I saw so many people bibbing their horns in the cars, and there was less cars than horn bibs. Just miserable. So I remember in here, I was in this place on my own, but it was just me working on myself. I then had a bike accident. Watch this guy's face. We both clashed into each other. This is early hours in the morning, 6:45. So every morning I was cycling to train my client 5 times a week. He was a recruiter. Now I know why it was getting to know me. But look, absolutely mullered in. And that was my face. My lip went high, but it was head on, smashed his head. Life is easy when you're in flow. Flow is you, and as you are, love, enjoy, and play out the movie. Harry's mission. This was just to sum up what I was saying just a minute ago. Leaving an impact everywhere I go. And touching the lives of strangers that don't know who I am. I just come in, I give an experience, and then I can go somewhere else again. So I want to look back at the end of my life and make a real difference in this world. And that comes back to my friends. One of the comments was, and it was kind of like the last straw, oh, Harry Thomas trying to change the world, give up. And it was just like, yeah, you watch. Like that is what I am set out to do, and that's what I will do. So I'm okay with that. That's my drive, and that spurred me on then. It's like, watch, it's not going to take long, and I feel like I'm making a big impact already. But I want to go on a completely bigger scale now, and I have a plan of how to do it. I feel like it's at a period where we all just need a bit more happiness. We need a bit more togetherness. Collectively, we need to actually look out for each other rather than fight against each other. And again, all of this can be done within 10 minutes. Leaving in So at this point, people, I was looking at all the stuff going in America every day. I didn't connect with any UK truthers. I didn't look at any UK truthers, not at all. I remember the 4 months I was back in the UK, didn't look at any pay. I didn't know. I was just looking at Trump and all the stuff going in America. So and I wasn't posting, only my gym and my meditation stuff now. So you can see my transition on the Instagram's gone from like fitness, my events, to more meditations. I wasn't posting any of the other stuff because I always used to get in trouble for doing it with work. Just different things. I remember like this was my morning bike ride, so it was from dark in the morning. So then it started getting lighter earlier. I just loved that image. Magic. Just different sayings like this, photos. I think this is the day. So this is what happened on the gym. I was going to leave it for them all, and then a week. So I've had my company now 12 years. A week before me moving away, and this is why I feel like it's all been set up and staged. A week before I'm going, the landlord, after all that time, had only been good to us, said, "Now we're taking it all now, and you owe us money." And so the last week or 2 weeks before, because the week before we're like, what? Just a shock out of nowhere, come out of the blue. And we lost the other city gym as well. Again, just how it's all looking back like that, it all seems deliberate. And all the people that help with the administration and then the removals and stuff. And this landlord said, we're taking it. And because they moved us into the basement and they gave us a loan that we were paying off, we weren't open over COVID. And we had like an £8,000 a month bill even for the Tower Bridge one at this point. We said, well, we can't. So in the end, a week before I'm going, 12 years after my business, I'm calling up my staff. That we'd lost a lot of clients anyway, and I'm calling up my clients to say we've got no gyms now. You can use one of the gyms from the college that we did our courses, but we can't. And just people, and the thing is, because they were our clients paying us, and then we paid the trainers, we took a tiny bit of the cut from it. They were like, "No, I'm not doing that now. I'm not doing it." So I lost. I think it might have been part of it. I just remember that in the gym, we decided rather than leave the equipment there, we just packed it all up and he sold it all. Again, the person he sold it to as well. These are the things that come up. Like again, like I said, it's all linked. But yeah, just so my 12, and then when I'm out in Brazil, I'm moving out there as my hair. I'm out in Brazil and I'm spending my time. I said I'm not getting involved in the stuff, but because it was my gym, I had to phone some clients to say, "Look, you owe us still for a month," and to the trainers, like, yeah. So I left. I didn't have really any good after 12 years. Think about all the clients you make. I didn't really have much contact with most people after because we'd upset a lot. A lot had already been left over the COVID time. There was a lot to go, but just the way that it was a week before. It's almost like it was set up for me. So I'm out in Brazil. Right, we're going to close the first one, come back. Here's 20 grand. You do that. We're going to save the other one. But I've already said at this point, I'm not going to be here. Yeah, it's screwed over loads. But I can play on that and get wound up on that and stuff. For me, it's the shock aspect. But also, like, I needed that freedom. So this was a night, where was it? April the 5th. I had insight. I had a visitor in my body. I had explosions in my body, and this is where soul coach come. I received another insight tonight. I am the soul coach. Souls come visit my soul to be coached by my soul. I had many souls visit me tonight, a secret party inside me. As they crammed in, they all become one. It was a thunderstorm inside me. I felt lots of new wisdom shoot around my body. So that's where I decided soul coach, but I didn't take that name on until I was in Brazil. I showed this one because this was on my phone, but look at the spirals down now and think about the earth and stuff as well. More writings. This is when manifesting kicked in. So I'm almost on my way to Brazil. I said in my meditation, I used to do it in Hyde Park. I said, I'm gonna connect with a squirrel today. Don't know why I just said that. As I went out to go, some squirrel poked his bum over the top and pissed on my back. I can't really show it too much there. So I manifested a squirrel, but it pissed on me. But What are the chances of that? So be clear with your requests, be a bit more depth to it. That was my teaching on that one. So this is it. So this is in this time. So I'm meditating, I'm going in, I'm having moments. So I went to, this would be the last part, and I try to connect it all together actually, because I've been talking. I'll go through it all. This is my story. I'll get it all out, and then it's there. To get to Brazil, they weren't letting anyone come from a red zone country, and England was at the time. So they weren't letting any direct flights. And the first time I stupidly booked a flight to Spain and a transit into Brazil, but Spain wouldn't let people in from England either, and they wouldn't allow me to do a changeover. So I went to the airport and I couldn't get there. And I was desperate to get to Brazil at this point. I was like, I'm ready now. And this is a new chapter in my life. And the person at the airport laughed. And when you're not getting out, you won't get out. So I'm thinking, how am I going to get there? I need to get there. So I've come back, lost money on those flights. I then tried to work out, maybe I'll go Colombia. I know some friends out there, they can invite me on a business thing, and just long-winded. I was going to do it though and try it, but they weren't accepting English countries as well. So it'd have been a bit of luck. I meditated, and this was the day where 2 bubbles popped out of me. It was so clear. Pop, chariot. Pop, Mexico. I come out and I was like, Mexico chariot. I searched on Google, Mexico chariot. And in Mexico City, there was something called the Chariot statue. And next to the advert was the Sheraton. So I'm like, I'm booking it. I just booked it straight away, booked my flight to Mexico. I get to Brazil in 2 days. One night in Mexico City, straight to Brazil. 12-hour coach. So just showing that if you still know that you've got the answers within you, they popped out with clear words. And there was another moment where something like that in that flat at that time, meditating, but that was when I was getting my confirmations to know, whoa, this is actually real. So I went out to Mexico, and then I'm in Brazil. So this was in my back garden, on my back garden, just a river every day. It was magic. Things like this, this was a different life for me to live. You'd have to shut your kitchen door because they'd come in and nick your bananas. It was amazing. Different mango trees in the garden, leaner this time, but still keeping the shape. And then lazy rivers, the waters, just different. And then I got a dog. How it all happened, the dog was called Zayu. So I've kind of worked out a bit of, but this is the first time I appreciated dogs. I looked after this dog. He was 3 months old. Every single morning, going for walks and stuff. But it was a love, it was a connection, it was appreciation. And also I was still stressed at this point because I'd lost everything. Like the gym had to close, so that was my furlough money just gone. Client wise, I've ruined that from the gyms. It was a nightmare. So in one hand, I think I'm like, right, new life and stuff. But I was stressed. I wasn't being present still. I was showing my energy, and I was taking it out on a dog, that a puppy. I'm guessing people know that's hard work. It's like having a kid. I didn't know, but it was amazing teaching. But I grow to like. I'll show you this one because this was just for me. This summed up how we live: play, exercise, and being present. Yeah, I miss him big time. This is in. I went to Salvador. All things kind of got split up at this point. I was just causing more stress than anything else. I was stressed. It was my energy too. She was healing. It didn't go to plan. There was just a complete detachment. I look at different things now. Yeah, there's a few things to it, but it was a love story. It was it made me really want to better myself. It made me aware of all things that I wasn't before. I moved too much. Like everything changed from that, and someone noticed me. That's what it felt like. But really, it's me noticing myself and noticing that there's a lot more that I want to work on, and in the process, you're gonna then be attractive to more people. This was a point very low. This is all I had at this point, and I wasn't getting any money coming in from payment. Yeah, Brazil was tough, but Brazil was cheap. Like for me what I needed, but I was lost at this point because the meditations I was trying hard. All the corporate people weren't interested in the meditation, even though it was changing people. They weren't interested. Now it makes sense. They don't want people doing that because you'd be leaving the corporate world if you was having that feeling every day, especially the money that some of these people make. They're like, why am I doing this? That's why they didn't want it. Or so, yeah, it was almost looking back now, though, it makes sense. So this is the light again that I was telling you about, where it just shines onto you. So Salvador is magical, and I feel it's one of the highest points up in Brazil, and this is kind of an Angolan, African sort of vibe, because in the olden days that was where they would ship over from. But that was my sunset every day, and I used to go and meditate on the beach every morning. So then I come back from Brazil. This is where I then started getting into truth, like actually sharing truth. But if people remember, this is a video won't let me in. And I said, I'm getting in. I'm not doing hotel quarantine. I'm not doing 10 days. And I filmed all the way back. The video went viral.
Just for my purposes. So what is the law that I'm breaking?
Sorry, you can't record because it says quite clearly.
I'm a law-abiding citizen. You just said I'm breaking the law.
You can't look. I'm not giving you permission to record me. I'm a law enforcement officer.
Okay, so you're stopping me from coming into my own country, which you can't do as a law.
Can you first turn that off?
And I've done a whole video on that, but the video went viral. This was just the intro to it. I won't play it all, but just this is when I come back to my mum's. I got arrested for 5 hours. They had to let me go because I read my rights out. And I had a Telegram group at the time, Divine Truth. There was 20 people in my group, just people that I knew.
So I've just got back from a red list country. I've been in Brazil for about 5 months. I've come back to see my parents, come back to the UK. I spent 6 hours in a cell landing in the UK. I want to go through my whole journey because I want people to understand when you know your rights and what we are protected on versus what we're tricked into.
I did this video, I posted it on the group, and then it just went viral, like completely viral. So these are the police officers that actually arrested me, schooled them. And yeah, the video went viral, and then everyone's reaching out. The first thing, what's the lawyer? What's the lawyer's name? What's the lawyer's name? I didn't have a lawyer. It was just someone who advised me. And then I got connected to all these different people. Never heard of them. Freedom is when we can accept our past, dig up the hidden parts, and the awakening is when we can share our story to other souls. Perfect what I'm doing today. A photo that just come up, but I remember, look, Illuminati forehead, I am the chosen one. I wrote that in 2014. Maybe these things, they're words that you manifest, and at the right time it comes around. But look, come on the podcast. I love this bit. This is now I'm sharp.
So I think it's being able to tap into your intuition, take everything out of it and say, what feels right to me?
What happens if your intuition is wrong?
It can't be. That's your ego. Your soul is truth.
Boom. So then I start missing him already. But then I start going around the world. I get connected. I'm in the south of England now, at Barton. There's Isle of Wight across there. Beautiful place, England. My mum and dad around at the south of England now. I never knew any of this stuff existed. So come from Brazil, but at least I had stuff. But Phoenix was on my phone at this point as well, which is quite interesting. I started going to rallies, started meeting people, started doing talks. now I'm on social media and I'm posting, because that video went viral. My YouTube went up, and then I started just posting about everything, and straight away I was getting cancelled, lost my account, lost Facebook, going around the country teaching common law. I didn't realize all the people I'm teaching, it's part of the, yeah. So a lot of people at first, they didn't know who I was, and obviously a lot of knowledge on this stuff. Normally, to know that, you must be at one of them. And slowly people start falling away. I'm doing stuff on the moon. I'll skip through this now, but just to kind of show you, parking tickets, my mum, I give her credit. Like, I must have had about 70 parking things that come to the house. Every time she'd send the mail away. Just looking at different things. It was constant. Look at the size of him there. Going to vaccine centres, closing them down successfully. Like, but I was doing it for the wrong people. I was doing it for the... Again, I didn't know at the time. I just thought we were all fighting this together. I didn't realise what the bigger picture was now. But look, we're getting 200 people at a venue for doing these talks and stuff. I'm like, where are they coming out of? But I realised the area that I'm in is a lot of spiritual world and stuff. But I know there's a lot of ex-cons. I know there's a lot of convicted people, especially the groups that we were in. I had moments where... I had all the warning signs not to go to clients to a client on this. I wasn't listening to him. So the tree fell down. I reversed. Oh, it's in different order. I reversed, and then on the same road, another tree had fallen down. So I was stuck in. And all the warning signs on this day were, don't go to this meeting. It was just the windiest day. I'm late. I turn up. The whole street's... The lights are out. It was just God every moment say it, and I wasn't paying attention. Going around, but then I started my eyes and the colours of things were changing. So I think we were getting a taste for what really our eyes can see, and the camera catches it. Did my first talk, had my head in the sand, in the carpet. I've had my head everywhere until recently, where it's out actually coming out and looking. But I thought that was quite a good representation. This was a good moment where we took 250 soldiers through breathwork meditation. We did 2 shows with them. Yeah, it was amazing. That was powerful. It just confirmed what we do. This is how I used to get my parking tickets. In the end, I started having a nice collection. Left them there. Didn't bother me at all. After I realised it's all unlawful, there's nothing they can do. Even to the point where the bouncers would come, or the bailiffs would come around, and even my mum knew how to talk to them in the end. Stressful for her, but again, I feel like one of the reasons I come back, one, I needed to come back to like see what was going on in the UK and connect with all the people to kind of connect to where I am now. But 2, for my mum and dad's awakening, because they wasn't awake. They had a David Icke living with them. That's all she called me. And then they started seeing how evil the world was, and shit. They were going on courses, and they'd only just moved down south as well, so it was good for them. Then, and this is where I started realizing different signs. TikTok kept getting posted on John McAfee's thing. TikTok. I never touched it because of all the dancers and the nurses dancing at first. I'm like, oh, I went on there. Look at when I first went on. So in 5 days, I had 1.2 million views. Like, everything just went bang, mental. And I remember what was quite interesting was the guy, when I told him, got angry. And he almost had a moan at the other woman for, why has this happened? And I realized the whole idea was to distract me from this stuff, because they knew that this would get out. TikTok went mental. Look at the stats. And I kept getting counts banned all the time, kept getting them banned. Then I had a bailiffs round, and I'd do videos of how...
What's your name?
It's on the letter.
So you're walking away, no law's been broken, no legal matter's been broken.
I've given you.
Well, you're walking away, so you can do what? Go away, go away. It doesn't matter, don't go away. So you keep walking on,
My name is on the letter that
Tell
I
me
gave
your
to
name.
you. My name is on the letter.
No, see, you won't admit the person.
I actually gave you my name at the very beginning when
Give
you
me
walked
your
out
name.
the door.
Yeah, what, you're on camera
So
now.
it was on camera.
Yeah, so you're hiding and running off
I'm
with your
not hiding.
tan. Well, give me your name then.
It's
if
on
you're
there.
coming
It's
out.
Miss Webb.
See, Miss Webb, give me your full name.
Miss Webb.
No, it's not.
Don't
Give me your
have to
full
give me
name.
my full name.
It's the well. If you want to talk to a person,
right.
if you want to talk to a person, so you're walking off now. It's disgusting what you do.
We're going to continue. We'll be back at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Come. You're going to try. You won't get no chance. You're breaking the law. No laws have been broken.
Okay, you carry on.
See you later, love. Bye.
Bit of ego. And then they come out to Chicago. Went straight to the Trump Tower. When I got to the Chicago, it was October, which is cold. I was prepared. It was sunny like this for 2 straight weeks. Blue sky. It's like I brought blue with me. Then I go to Arizona, meet Carrie Lake on the first night, and then that was my trip in America. Straight away, though, I realized I got above of Arizona on one of the highest hiking spots out there. So I was above people in spirit the whole time, realized how corrupt it was. And then that was the end of this part. So it is, I'm not sure that. So that was all the photos I've got for this. So it's I can go for a tiny bit longer. But it was when I got to Arizona where I meditated. Where do I go next? I looked after some friends' dogs in Chicago. Even how I got to meet this person and how it was connected with another person in Utah, which all the same. It was almost like anyone that was awake because there was something else going on. And it was almost like I look at like London as the castle. So the corporations is the castle. And once you're in there, it's a death trap. I managed to get out of London. I then went away and I had a few people keeping tabs on me, doing a bit of coaching and stuff as well. And then I come back and then it was like, right, all the other stuff that I was doing, it was kind of like a journey. So I felt London was the premium. Right, I've gone past that. Now the advanced in the UK was the people that knew the truth. They were in the corporate rat race. These are the elites and stuff, but they're all brainwashed and they've taken the jab. Then I meet the people that I feel are ex-cons and live in, getting away from the matrix. They live in a bit freely and stuff. And I met all these people, nice people who I met. I just feel that there's something a bit deeper on with all of it now. Went to different communities. That was like I think the supreme crop from the UK truthers. Because they weren't paying attention to America, when I come back, everything I was saying was cancelling out their stuff. I was like, well, that don't make sense. Trump's in control of that. So I didn't realize that people were corrupt. So I'm calling out all these different truthers when we're in groups and stuff, and I'm getting kicked out of all these. I didn't understand why. I'm like, they're not talking the truth. So I realized a lot of the people that I met, they weren't interested in truth because they weren't interested in any other stuff. It was just certain things that they were saying. At the time I come back was all the scientists. And it was almost like when I went around the country, they were trying to work out what they can do. In the end, I think they just realized I'm a decent guy and they learned a lot. I felt like I was a soul coach for more people. But the next step then is, right, Harry's going to go to America. I felt naturally, I just grasped to, that's the highest spot, most corrupt spot, Arizona. So come across land, Chicago, nothing was going on there. It was meditated Maricopa County. Now I look at it was almost like God sent me in the most evil, corrupt points. And people know my story to the point where I was living with people that attempted to kill me. Like I feel like he was a hitman now looking at some more stuff into it. I've done a few videos on that as well. It was shock. And I realized people in my groups, people in my communities, people were spying on me, intel, but sinister, some like evil. You could see that the words that it was saying to manifest death for me. And I realized on the day it was a big alarm bells going off. It's get out of the house, get out of the house. And that, yeah, it was all confirmed. It was a horrible experience of being shocked. But leading up to that, I'm calling out people in the truth movement because I'm like, hang on a minute, they're involved in trafficking. They're not answering questions. And I would get ignored. And it was just one shock at a time. But now it just all makes complete sense. And I realized it's a war. They're just on the other team very cleverly mixing. I can't, when you see the videos in war, and and it's Christmas Day and they're in the bunkers, but for Christmas they all get up and they go across and they're having fags with the enemies. Just one day where they don't fight each other. That's where I feel now. I don't, and I said that, but there's some people that still are trying to get a trigger or still sending some messages out for, because your words are everything. So they try to get you to say stuff, or they'll say, look at this person, what they're doing, or look what they've said. They want you to say something bad about someone else. If I don't mention them now, I'm above all of them in spirit and awareness and knowledge of what's going on, and I can stand and audit. I don't need them in my life. I didn't have them in my life beforehand, but it was almost so from the corporations. It was like I got through all of that, the stag and the different sorts of clients to recruiting. Now I'm doing adventure races, and it was almost like, how can we distract? Well, first of all, how can we corrupt? I didn't really have money. I didn't have mortgage. I didn't have tied down things, so they couldn't use that as leverage. Then it was that woman who come into my life, and I feel that there's a big part of that and where I was living and all the different connections. But it was a lot more Russians that are coming into my life, and there was a lot more South Americans coming into my life through the plant medicine. So, but it was almost like I needed one link to another. And then in Arizona, I was just friendly. And I always said that no one liked good news. I went to a Trump Friday. No one wanted good news. They didn't want to hear it, not interested. Then they weren't interested in the meditate. And I realized all these people, one lady says, I said, she's always in fear. I think she was in fear because she knew what was going on and she was trying to style it out that I was living there. Yeah, it was interesting. So look at in levels now. London's the highest. Then that's the exit, stopping people coming out the country, and you have your roles. People stay in their roles. They stay in the same career all their life. And I'm like, I don't get that. Now I do. You're part of something else. So you're there to be intel. You're there to develop yourself. But that's your role. You've signed your blood. You've corrupted. That's what you're doing. Unless someone else pulls you in and you go elsewhere. And the trip and experience in Arizona in terms of the people that I was getting introduced to and meeting with. And it was funny. I'm like, I'm meeting the person that I'm speaking about on the podcast today. How funny is that? I'm like, God, but they're listening to me. And then they say, right, let's get another person. And it was continuous like that. But I was oblivious because I'm all about that. And each time the beauty of when you're confident of yourself, you're aware of your energy, especially stillness, anything that doesn't ring true at all, especially words, body language, I'm always paying. If I notice it now, it's not a truth. So when people are acting up a bit, I know they're being conniving in a way. I don't react. So they think that I'm not seeing it. And I'm noticing more and more. In the end, I had to move out of one of the places because she was in fear and just angry woman about everything, just shouting at politicians on Twitter spaces at 2:00 in the morning. So I moved out to this next place and it was perfect, everything perfect. And I realized on the place, someone asked me, where do you book it? And I told them what website on. So this advert was on, and these people must have think, oh my God, he's falling right into the trap here. I lived with this couple for 2 months and the space was lovely. I was in my comfort zone. My routine was same all the time. But I was like, I need a car in Arizona, do a podcast. Someone messaged me, get a car a week later. The guy owned a car dealership. That car was bugged. I know it was now because, I definitely know it was because of certain people that I saw at different stages. And then to the point where the housemates, like I got invited to go shooting, and it was a blessing that come to that because I realized if I was to go shooting with him, which was all planned, he would have given me the gun in the house and then he would have shot me. I realized that because I was there illegally at that point because of my visa ran out, but I was there lawfully. So they would have had an excuse and they were trying to set this up. And then after all this happened, I looked back at loads of messages and stuff and you could see it was all being played. And just the last few days, they were acting very strange. They were telling me that they had dreams that people were breaking in and then the guy was going to shoot them. And then he said someone knocked on the door and he said, if I see anyone in this house, I'll shoot them. And then there was something, it was on my birthday, 9th of August, and I invited them to go for food. And driving to their restaurant, he said one thing, and I'm like, he's talking about me. I didn't react to it, but in my head, I was like, I'm going to get out of the car now. in the end, I went to the meal and stuff as well. But he said one thing, and I knew he was talking about me, and I knew he was talking about shooting. They went away for the weekend, and he then sent me a message when I realised all this. I got on a plane straight away, and yeah, I realised, and he messaged me, said, "Oh, I'm not there tonight," and he wasn't there the night before with the dogs. "I'm not there tonight." He said, "But the two crazies will be there, so can you look after them? I fed them already, and they'll do their business in the garden." That was the message that I got, and I realised, whoa. And then after that, I went to FBI, I went to military intelligence, I went to CIA, and I'm in a bit of a panic, like, oh my God, then and after that, I realised that this is serious. I kept saying, we've won this war, we've won this war. We won this war in terms of what's going out there, but I didn't realise the war was everyone around us. The truth movement is corrupted to every level with people, sex offenders, rapists, like people that are convicted a long time ago. Then you've got every sort of corruption there ever is in the world. It's all part of the same system, even if you never knew before. It's all getting exposed up now. So if you dragged it all up, you'll see every evil, not even call it evil because it's crime, but people have been born into something. Like I said yesterday with my area, and you've got the different schools and stuff to stop people. That's just a setup. You wouldn't call that devil. You wouldn't call that Nazi. You just know that that's what you've been doing. And if you're then passed on the family, look, this is what we do. This is our little secret, but we're in the war. I just feel like they're playing a different, they're going disguise, and soon we're going to have full control. That would have been everywhere. In the city, look, we got this little hustle here. Look at the recruitment world. We do this. And everyone does their own thing, right? But it's always controlled by people at the top. But what I'm seeing now is this spiral going around the world. You drag it all up. One thing links to the other. One thing links to the other. So what we're seeing on the news right now is Israel at the top. That's the war. But what country is now in the news? Egypt. I feel we're going to be going down the ladder and get to Arizona where the first domino falls. I feel that we have to see that, first of all, this world thing's going on. Same thing, all the people, Iran, all this sort of stuff. And then it's all going to connect. But what's happening in the process, I know things are happening. I know things are happening. I know people are being taken out. I know there's a lot of shifts already going on. I can see it. I can see it all now. Even the responses that I'm getting from people was quieting down. There's takedowns happening already. We're just obviously not going to get told about it. We're getting closer and closer now. My insights and my visions are so deep and so clear. It's like I'm watching the overall story. So I feel that the human experience is to have our own experience. The story is always going on. It's God's story. And when you're present, you are in line with God. And we're just playing catch up now, but you're seeing the whole story of the water goes up, the great floods. Then the sun comes down, first land, Israel. Then it spirals round and it's gone down. And when it got to the UK, then the writings, the books, the translations, the languages. And now we're cleaning up, clear up phase, drain the swamp. It's going down. And we're at where are we now? First. So, yeah, it's close. So we got the 5th of November, which is, what did I say? Oh, yeah, that's when the clocks change. So the 5th of November, which is this weekend. So the clocks change. Clocks changing. There's a shift in the sun. Then you've got on the 21st of December, which is the longest day of the year in the other hemisphere. Shortest day of the year in the UK. So these shifts, and then you have Christmas, and this year it's going to be Christ mass consciousness, Christ within. We find the truth. I feel it is this year, and I feel that these sort of stories are helping now people start seeing it's all connected. If you're doing crime, it effectively funds the devil worshipping systems. You just didn't know it before. If you're doing crime, it's still going against God. So people are going to get all sorts of things coming up. The people in the truth movement and stuff as well. I do feel some are going to get taken out because I don't know how extent the crimes are. Trump says death penalty for human trafficking. And again, people that I met in the UK, I know they was involved in human trafficking because I remember some of the conversations they had with it. It's almost like they were testing me. And I feel like others are gonna. I feel like a big role was the people will judge you. That judgment only can come from people yourself. Like it's God. So some people can't accept what they've done, and they'll just go out based on going right to the very end of the war. And I get it; it's a war. I do feel like there's still lots of things that can take place and change. There's a lot of people that are completely asleep. They're just going to get shown the chaos on the news. Scare event, shock factor, something's going to happen 24 hours. It'll be something for 24 hours for everyone. It has to. I feel like there'll be a fake explosion or nuclear bomb, and then we're going to see some land destroyed, or we're going to see something. But what I really think is going to happen is going to be land revealed. So expect that we had the glitch in the matrix yesterday. Supposedly, it felt different. It felt a bit. Yes, it's been an interesting few days, and everything's now connected through 5G, through Starlink. So there's going to be things that we're going to see that may not actually be real, but it's a hologram. We're holograms. So be open to a lot of things coming. My key for all this now is reflect on your life, because there's still things in there that you know are in there. Reflect on it, write on it. How do you feel about it still? What is holding you back still? What are you still too scared to go and face? Have those thoughts, because again, it's another area of progression. And when I say only God can judge you, and this is the key part, if it's on energy and they're scanning everything for energy, like you see in the films in the poker places, you can see when people are lying or agitated just from their energy. They can tell if someone's been able to accept their changes by their energy. Most people haven't, because they haven't dealt with it or faced it or know what they've done. You can still change that. Meditation. That's a true awakening, is to really go into all these areas and things pop up that you wasn't aware of. The photos help, but only God can judge on the energy. So if you know you've learned your lessons, you know it all, and you put it out there somehow to yourself mostly. And if you look for the bigger picture, my role helps bring awareness. And I've realized now, I've stopped, like, there's loads that can be done on that side of things too. I've seen a few deaths mentioned. I don't know if they're genuine or not, but I met those people. And it does, again, give you a bit of a soul slap. But the people I met were good people from what I met, my experience. If we didn't have this outside world going on, that was all I would have known. So this is where I feel like it's our story, the story, life. That's the bit that we've been lacking and missing, because we wasn't connected and we didn't know what was going on. Now we do, or we will. Then life is great, because you flick from, let me see the 4D. Let me come back to now knowing what I can do. I can do it through love. I can do it through passion. I can get excited. I don't now have the restraints from the legal system and time, and I have to be so. And then new technology coming after. It's magic, people, what's coming. Magic. Look at the World Fair shows. Look at the technology that was left. Every generation, I know it's been saved for us to go into. It's almost like we're going to be able to go back through the time ages, through different lands, countries, that sort of stuff. It's going to have a real culture and authenticity, but a truth to it. And life again becomes student of life, student of God, student of everything that we've been told. We now need to strip it all back, but we get to do that with everyone. And we get to see what we have gone through, and also know this. Everything that you've ever done is out there in the universe somewhere as an energy. They have technology now that would be able to capture that energy like a water droplet and be able to recall some of it. So that is magical, which also means we have to go and face certain things in there. I know that we'll have access to every phone photo we've ever taken. I know that all the things ever since the internet come on, we'll be able to recall that back. We'll also be able to look at someone and say, what's your past? What is your story? And you'll have, what's the film called on that one? I can't remember what that film was called now. It was really cool, the technology. Oh, that wasn't that one. can't even remember who was in it. Another good film is Solace. That's really cool. And TV series called Invasion. I really encourage people to watch that. Down the Rabbit Hole. I really encourage people to watch that. Look at it from the good guys are doing what the bad people do. And then the bad people are the good people now, what they're doing. It's kind of your perspective's got to change. And a recent one is called The Sinner. Oh, the episode I watched today, and I'm watching all these now, it's telling me things to make it, and I'm like, oh, everything is creation. It's showing us in a way. And The Sinner, the main character is called Harry. And yeah, it's just things like that. It's really cool to go and watch. I'm open to all that's coming, encouraged by your journey, divine path for sure. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome, Amanda. Excited, Cherry. It is exciting, and also know people. We've all been through something. We've all still got a lot to go through, but we've all got now a lot more experience to be able to share. There's going to be people with a lot more knowledge for us that have been waiting for us to come to this time. There's a lot of healing for us all to be done, and then it's allowing us to see what are we capable of. So it is quite intimidating when you try to really think about what life is going to be like. It's almost like there's an anticipation moment. There's not really much interest for me to do other things. Just try to get as much out as I can now in terms of coming up for me, because it is a truth within me. That's how I'm putting it into the words, and that's how I'm connecting it with my experiences. I definitely know that I'm being shown now is a spiral down, and I'm seeing all the images and all the things before. It all links now. And also the way that I view life as 4D, being above people from my energy. And when I'm above, I'm aware of everything then, because anything that then doesn't ring true, then I see it. It doesn't come up with me. It's not allowed to. And I now know that there's so much more depth for us to go that we can take our time. So coming back to Israel again, Israel, the star, the first land, the star on the Christmas tree. If you look at a Christmas tree, the way that it spirals down, this is all the different lands. If you just kept going, you've got more and more and more space to go down to. So then we've been contained. We're now learning about the world up, but we're learning through things being shown to us. All your experiences now, your travel, all your experiences from what you're learning, different people, cultures, all that sort of stuff will help. And the other thing is, as kids, the development of kids, I realized as well, and questions to be asking. Are you taking your kids to different locations? To the woods for walks, to the beaches? Are you going and doing things out of your comfort zone with them? Because I realize now my deja vus come when it triggers. The other night I walked out, it was 10:30 at night time. I don't really go out much at night anymore, but there was like a bit of a fog about, and the clouds, there's the moonlight kind of shining through. It flashed back loads of images of me walking home as a kid. And then you look at the trees. And so our role is to help kids trigger all experiences. That's God. All sounds, all foods, all memory, and try to help them bring awareness when they're in there. What do you think of that? What does that look like? What about that memory? Like, bring that into it. And we're like the shepherds, the gatekeepers for them. We help provide the environment. We let them learn in there. But are we actually going out of the house? Because I remember, and a lot of you growing up before me as well, how many different places would you go to on your bike? How many different places in the woods would you go to? Like, how often would you go out on your own with your mates? Like, as young kids, go out anywhere. Mum would say, be home before dark. Things like that. We can't do that now. So are our kids getting half of the experience that we did? No. Because of the fear of the aspect. So are we stimulating them in other ways? Music, education. When we're looking at sports, they love football. Are they looking at all the other areas that make a good footballer? Like confidence, like words, encouragement, and get them to see the value of how it helps them with football. Are you highlighting when they're passionate about their things and pay attention to that? They're the moments that will stay with them. That's what inspires, and that's where kids remember. Kids are open already. They're a sponge, but it's the truth that stays with them. It's the achievements that stay with them. I encourage people, start living your life like you're going to be explaining it to your inner child. And in your inner child now, it's like, what would you wish you were told back then? To bring awareness to, like, what tips would you give that would have changed everything going back then? And try to get your teachings, because remember, as humans, we're evolving. So from our mistakes, we then share that with our future generations. They don't make their mistakes. They're more advanced. Same with football. Look how football evolves over the years. Look at cars. Look at sports equipment. Like, it always evolves. That's life. If we don't give them our challenges because we're not proud of them or we haven't dealt with them, they then have to go through that too. It's a cycle because we haven't given them any awareness. I encourage people to really pay attention to maybe one or two things to start with. And can I actually get a teaching out of this and share something, or bring up a conversation which is going to lead into that? It changes everything, and you'll realize how much more interesting they become as well. Like, you'll get a spark out of them. And again, it brings people back into your life when something like that comes in. But allow the conversation to flow, allow something to be mentioned, and then bring in something. But always pre-plan it. It's like, who would this benefit? Okay. And then we go that in that direction. So, yeah, looking at all this journey now, every part of that, there was different groups of people. There was different where they were from, their interests. It was all mirroring mine. So like the film on The Matrix, they work on cause and effect, and they say, oh, we've planned all that. If I work on God, God put me in front of all these things anyway, because I had to learn those lessons. So you can get caught up and say, oh, maybe it was all staged. God allowed you to be there. If God knows you can handle that now, that's the next level up. There's the next one. You ask for truth. I'm giving you truth. I'm giving it always to you. I'm showing you darkness now. I'm getting you to pay up, put your light on. Loving invasion. Yeah, brilliant, isn't it? There's moments in there, and I realize why there's certain stuff now growing up as a kid. If I'm coming from a place of love, the acting is so powerful that you remember the truth parts. You remember it all. And I feel like that only can happen if some of these actors know the bigger picture. Because you're acting with that knowledge and you're putting that emphasis in this. It stays with kids. Sorry, darts. Darts. Not too sure what you mean by that, Bruno. Any questions, anyone? 33 people have been watching for a while, so I love that number. Love that. Yeah, let me know if there is any questions. And just look out for it now. Like, for me, it's already gone. Like, we just come in at this time. I just know that our story, we're here. So we get the choices always in every moment. But we were here for this reason. If you can then go beyond the physical experience and know that we're all in it together, we're all souls. We're all souls. We just have to wear a t-shirt in this human experience or continue a story in this human experience. We're all part of the Great Awakening. I just feel, yeah, it's almost like, are we all going to just shift into the next bit? That was our teaching. We all find God. Or do people still get stuck here? And you go, again, I don't know what that looks like. But I'm excited. I'm super excited. So it doesn't look like any questions. Please, again, people, I love the comments on that first video. So please feel free to share comments on this one. Anything that you resonate with, anything that has come up for you, anything that you would like to share. They do help people for sure. And I do enjoy reading them because I relate to the things that people do say. And there'll be some experience that I've had where I'm like, yeah. And it just gives a little confirmation too. So sending lots of love again. It's the 1st of November today, so 111. I've got a new course starting on the 11th. It's a 18-day course. It's the journey for illumination of the soul, and it goes through the different levels and just different areas to focus on to really simplify life. And I've combined a bit of meditation stuff in there as well as different primes, different placements that we can do with each session. So you can tie the teaching into the experience. And I'm going to be doing a bit more stuff on meditations just for the smaller videos to try get more people into that part, not the hour ones, just little intros to getting to that place of calmness and peace and just knowing that that is meditation. That's God. As soon as you get there and you know that that's God, you call it what you want. It's God, it's energy, it's source, it's just magic. Thank you for your do. You are very welcome. And thank you as always, Cherry. People, we are going through an amazing period. If you're sad, play the piano. Listen to that music. If you're excited, put on the meditation, set an intention. And if you're really curious, go back and look through some of your photos. Just look, no attachment, just see what pops up for you. Something will. So sending lots of love as always. And I'll catch you all. I'll be on live tomorrow. I'll do a different caption